Okay, good morning again for people who have just joined in. Welcome to the first session. So before we start, I'll just briefly introduce myself. So I am Sumit. I'll be your facilitator for today's session. I lead analytics labs. Now we're around 14 years of experience in analytics and data science domain. Most of my experience has been in analytic driven consulting. So during these 14 years, I had opportunity to see the evolution of analytics, starting from when the analytics was primarily dependent upon market research data, and then how gradually post 2010 big data, CRM systems started coming into picture. Guys, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Sumit.
Okay.
Audible.
Yeah. Yes, Sumit.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes.
Audible.
Thank you. Thanks for confirming, everyone. So one of the objectives I would have for today's session is to share some of the practical experiences I had during this tenure. Because if I talk about how analytics used to be when in 2007 I started my career versus today 2022, in June I'll be completing actually 15 years in this domain. There is a lot of things which have changed. The type of data, the volume of data, the dimensions of data, the complexity, and of course the power of analytics itself has changed a lot. In 2007, it used to be mostly a strategic function to gain insights and make some decisions. Now, when we talk about even taking minute decisions or highly AI-driven operational decisions, let's say even your face recognition on your phones, on your laptops, or Facebook deciding what advertisement to show to which user, right? That's all analytics at the end of the day. So a lot of things has evolved. So one of the things I'll be trying as part of today's session to give more practical touch and how I have seen things unfolding thanks to the technology and the more powerful algorithms which we have. That's briefly about me. Now, what we would be covering as part of this session, this is a broader agenda. It's not going to be that if we have any other questions related to these points, anything you may want to discuss, I'll be happy to discuss in the purview of time as long as they are related to the discussion topic. So one is, of course, what is data science? There could be different ways to see it. You guys already may have a good understanding about it. Then what are different stages and types of analytics? Because analytics or data science, when we see, is a very broader term. There are a lot of things, if we go a level deeper, we should understand about it. Then who is a data scientist? Probably the most popular and most sought after job role in the data science domain. So we'll also talk about who is a data scientist, what does a data scientist do, right? What are the key skills they need, etc. Now, after this, if we really have to understand things in very good detail, we will also have to take a look at an enterprise level data science architecture, that when a large company, let's say a large company like Amazon, Uber, Netflix, or let's say any of the banks, HSBC, they are using analytics. What are the different components and pieces which comes into the play? So we'll look at it, because once we have an understanding on that aspect, then we will be able to understand about more things and more important job roles in data science. Because as I said, everyone understands at high level what is data science, who is let's say the job role of data scientist, but there are a lot more important job roles in data science apart from just data scientist. And one person might be actually playing to different degree, different responsibilities across different type of job roles. Then the sixth one is quite close to my heart, and this is very important part, because if I talk about the whole power of machine learning, AI, which we see in present world versus what it was 4 years back or 3 years back, the concept of MLOps is something which has made the difference. So what do I mean to say? The kind of algorithms and tools we had, they are not very different from what we had, let's say 4 or 5 years back. We had all those things, but the way we are seeing machine learning and AI totally pervasive in our world, we see it playing at everything we do, starting from booking a cab using Uber, Ola, or looking at the Netflix or YouTube suggestions. Everything has machine learning at the back end. So it is machine learning operations which has made this possible. So we will be spending some time to understand that, why it is so essential. And we will also understand about the popular certification courses which we have, which you guys would be interested in. Some of you would have already enrolled in, right? So what are the different courses? What is their value proposition? What do you learn? And henceforth. So any questions or clarifications, guys, you have at this stage? I see someone has raised a hand. Do I have any question from you guys right now?
No, I think we are good to go.
Great.
So just one thing,
Sure.
Sumit, so about MLOps. So is it similar to what we call as data engineering or the pre-processing phase of before we do start the machine learning?
So
Is that what we call as MLOps?
it has some overlap with data engineering. Data pre-processing is different. Data pre-processing is essentially a step before we can do any kind of analytics to basically make data worthy of analytics, right? That's a good question. I'll try to answer more on it. I'll also share a very detailed blog we have on data pre-processing. However, MLOps may be needing these things, but it is still little different. However, the overlap with data engineering is little more, but not with data.
Okay. Okay.
The data science is different and AI and ML is different, right?
No, I would say data science is a very broader bucket, right? AI ML is a sub part of it. So
Okay, I thought the data science is like a entry level, and the AI and ML is that is the technology. I thought like that.
see, there are multiple ways to look at it. Good, you asked this question. I will be happy to answer this more detail. Let me jot it down. But you can say data science is the way towards AI and ML. So it's a subset. But yeah, it's more advanced forms of it.
Okay. So becoming AI engineer, first you should know data science
Correct.
properly.
Yeah,
it's a base.
You should, exactly. You should know good amount of fundamentals of data science,
like a Python, statistics, a data visualization, NumPy, Panda, NLP.
Correct.
Etc. Okay.
So I'll share more details on it. Good question. So we'll talk about this.
Okay.
Right. Okay, guys. So if anyone would want to share, what do you understand from data science? What is data science?
Data science is basically like what I know about the data scientists actually is that they work on the unstructured set of data, which is like without any preset questions like what exactly we have to do. So starting from the scratch actually.
Okay.
And I think
Anyone else?
Yes. I believe data science is the can you hear me, Sumit?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. I believe data science is a process starting from collection of all the information, including the big data process or the traditional information, and starting from collecting to up to the execution part, and using the process to different perspective to increasing the business or any other process, or all this process which involve in the execution of these two components is can be said as data science,
Okay,
which consists of data engineer, data architect, data scientist, business analyst, all those things including.
fair enough. Okay. So guys, there could be plenty of different type of definitions when we talk about data science, right? So to put it very, very simply, data science is about gaining insights into data using computation, statistics, and visualization. I would want to add one thing to this: gain insights into data to drive smart business decisions. So we use computations, algorithm methods, we use statistical methods, we use visualization techniques. However, it is very important to keep this in mind. The objective is to draw some insights that can help us to make smarter decisions. It could be for commercial business decisions. It could be, let's say, based on some research, medical decisions. So it's very important that we keep in mind that anything we are trying to do here, we are going to add value to the organization. So sometimes this is the track which people lose focus from, that it's not about using fancy tools and techniques. That is just a mean. The objective is to drive smart decisions, to help organizations. So I have seen people getting lost into the whole confusion and a plethora of tools and techniques without realizing that what they're doing is actually not meeting any business objective. So to begin with, one must always keep what is our objective, organization goal or business objective which we are trying to achieve. It's very obvious the amount of value data scientist or data science commands in today's world, right? As per HAL, the ability to take data, to able to understand it, process it, extract value from it, visualize it, and to communicate is going to be a very hugely important skill, not only at professional level, but at education level for elementary schools, which we think is already going on. Correct me if I am wrong. Now, analytics and data science is a skill, the way IT skill used to be in late 90s or in early 2000s, that it's not just meant for specialized professionals. Even let's say a manager or an HR manager, let's say bank manager, HR manager, or a researcher, they must have some analytic skills to manage day-to-day data, to use it for decision making. So something which was mentioned many years back, we are actually seeing that to be true. Not surprisingly, even if you see national education policy, which came into existence in 2020, now 2 years back, even for kids from 5th standard onward, the skills related to Python, basic coding, machine learning have started getting introduced. So in short, it is about gaining insights, support smarter decisions with help of computation, stats, and visualization. And as we move along into future, this skill is not going to be just meant for specialized professionals, but to a degree, to certain degree, every person would need to have these skills. As I said, there could be plenty of different definitions. I like to keep it short and crisp to the point. However, I have shared one blog where you can read in much more detail about it with much more granularity. So any points, any questions anyone want to make here?
Yeah, I just have a like very small question here. So, yeah, so as you correctly mentioned that the tools and techniques comes into the picture once you understand the problem and the objective, right?
Mhm.
But how the personal, how the individual's aptitude and the skills they have comes into the picture, because I think that is also one of the most important part,
Right.
before moving ahead. So
Right.
like for like I come from a non-tech background, right? So
Mhm.
I want to understand, like, is it gonna be the same for a person who is coming from a tech background, or he will have a more like like instinct that how he has to do the things, or is
Right.
it gonna be the same?
Right. So very good question. Generally, we keep this for later stage, but we'll answer it now. See, one's aptitude definitely plays a role. In short, let's say some people can be very good in mathematics, some people might not be so good in mathematics because of their natural liking, right? So similarly in analytics, it's possible that some people might be naturally very talented when it comes to having a knack of identifying a problem and using data to solve it. However, technical versus non-technical does not play a lot of role here. It's more of a mental block, and I'll tell you the reason for it. We have seen cases over the years. When I say over the years, comfortably, I can say 10 years. Some candidates, even after coming from engineering background, they because of, let's say, the effort they are putting is not doing so well versus someone who's coming from, let's say, arts commerce background. In fact, we had students coming from arts background doing like superbly well. They're currently working in analytics, data science only. One of them has actually also written a book on data science, a very detailed, I think now its second volume is coming. So technical versus non-technical does not matter. Yes, to a degree, aptitude plays a role. However, that is where any professional training and coaching comes into picture. So one of the important uh, aspects of any good training is it's not just about training you on tool or how to code. That's very, very small part of it. It's more about building that thought process, that when you see a problem, how do you translate that problem into an analytics problem related to the data, and think of the good ways to use data to reach an answer. So that thought process is an essential part of any good training and certification which you learn, as long as you are open to it. If you are from non-technical background, it does not stop you to do or excel in data science. Only thing is, one caveat: yes, there could be some components where you might have to put little bit more effort in comparison to someone who is already from technical background. So that difference in amount of effort can change, but broadly, if you really want to do it, we have seen people from all kind of education backgrounds, technical, non-technical, doing well in it.
I think that answers my question. Thanks, Sumit. So, like, as you just mentioned that uh, mathematics, right?
Mhm.
So, which, like, for example, like, there are people like me who
Mhm.
haven't done 11th 12th with maths, or maybe haven't done calculus, or
Mhm.
the other things
Yeah.
in the math in the 11th 12th. So is it important that the person should have a basic knowledge of it before entering into it? Because I think that will play a role in learning the skills.
So it helps, but if you do not have it, we take care of those things as part of the building blocks. So as part of the courses we have
Okay.
some building blocks where we take care of it. Although I have written this question, I'll answer more around it. I will
Sure,
be
sure, sure.
asking about it.
Thanks.
And especially I will be talking about different type of courses. We
Yeah.
also take care of the backgrounds candidates are coming from,
Hmm.
right? And at the same time, we also take care of some basics which people may not, even if you have studied mathematics in +1, +2,
Hmm.
you may not really remember it by now, right? So some
Exactly.
kind of brush up and those things definitely come into picture. And as I said, any good training takes care of it.
Thank you so much. I,
Great. Okay. Moving to the next part. So data science is not like a magic wand, overnight success. It involves a process. Right? If I talk about organizations which do well in terms of data science, they follow these process better than the other. So when I say process, I am talking about at a high level at this stage. We'll talk about it in more detail as part of the course. So one is defining your goal. So it could be a research goal, it could be a business goal, it could be a commercial objective, right? So as part of a data science process, first thing is to be very important what we want to achieve. Are we trying to improve our revenues? Are we trying to improve our profits? Are we trying to improve our customer satisfaction? Based on that, we then move to retrieving the data, right? Like to solve a problem, we need to understand what kind of data we need, what kind of data we have. Then it is also about data preparation. That, okay, we understand we have data and we have got this data, but by default, most of the times the data may not be in a shape that we can directly start using it. So many of the times, or most of the times, a lot of time is spent into preparing the data, which means basically bringing the data into a shape which can be useful for analysis, because by default data can be dirty, can have many problems. What kind of problems? What do I mean by dirty data? These are all part of the trainings you go through. But in short, making the data that is ready to be analyzed. Then data exploration. We get deep into the data that, okay, what are the type of variables? What are the relationship between different variables and data? There we may use some graphical representation, different type of graphs and tables to understand our data better. And after this step, that is when we move to data modeling, which some people may call as predictive modeling, statistical modeling, machine learning modeling. So if you see, a lot of people have this conception that data science is all about modeling and these kind of things. But you see, it is very important step, but it comes a lot later in the process. Because if you have not done these things well, no matter how fancy or how advanced is your model, you cannot really make use of it. So the steps before modeling are very, very crucial. There is a very popular saying in analytics, garbage in, garbage out. If in your model you have put poor quality of data without cleaning it or preparing it well, your model is also going to throw similar kind of results. After your modeling is done, now a model could be a statistical model or a machine learning model. That's for later to discuss when we use which kind of models. Then comes the presentation, that, okay, we have got the results. We present that data to business leaders, to stakeholders, to our clients.
Sorry to interrupt you in between.
Yeah.
Sumit, I have a question. What do you mean by poor quality of data?
Yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'll first complete it, then I'll take the questions.
Okay.
So after your data modeling and analysis has been done, it is very important that we are able to present that data to our clients, business leaders, stakeholders, which may or may not be from analytics background. So translating those outcomes for people who are non-technical or non-statistics background is very important. So there, your simple charts, graphs, visualizations again do come into picture, basically simplifying your outputs that can be understood even by non-technical or non-analytics people. And at this stage also comes the process of automation, or the MLOps thing, which I talked about. So MLOps and automation is not the same thing, but yeah, what do we mean by here is we have built the model. Now, how do we use that model for our day-to-day business operations? Let's say a bank has built a model to predict whom they can give loan and whose loan they should reject. Now, how do we make this model available that a banking officer who is sitting in the branch can use his laptop or computer to reach this decision or approve or disapprove an application? I'm just sharing an example here. So don't think of data science as a magic wand. It's a process which needs a lot of rigor to get good results. So I see we have some questions. One is, what do we mean by poor quality of data? To understand this in entirety, you would need a lot of things. However, I'll share some examples to understand this for you. So first thing is, let's say if I have data where a lot of values are missing. Let's say I'm talking about banking data. We are building a model for loan approvals, and age and income, there are two variables where 50% of the data is missing. That's a poor quality data, right? Or let's say in age variable, some data is in years, some data is in months. That is also poor quality of data. We need to make that uniform. So just some example to help you when we say what is poor quality of data. The data which has been poorly stored in a non-uniform manner, inconsistent manner, has a lot of missing values, a lot of wrong values, the values which do not make any sense. Let's say the date of birth was supposed to be recorded as 1980, 1981, 1985, but it is coming as 1880, 1885. So all those kind of problems could be part of your problem data, which we have to take care of as the data preparation step. Okay, so I have hand raised from two candidates. Guys, please feel free to go ahead and ask your question.
Good morning, Sumit.
Good morning. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, how often is programming and coding is involved with this? Like, if somebody is from a non-tech background and not having the complete knowledge of CS and IT,
Yeah.
so how does like someone enters with no experience, and
Okay.
how the things are going to like be in future, so that like, you know, learning a software is a different thing. Like if it's an hands-on experience, then it is going to be a little easy. But in terms of programming, as we say, Python or R, how these things are tough, or just like what level of dedication do we need, and are we able to do that or not?
Yeah.
Involvement.
Sure. So I think I partially answered this question in the last discussion also on the previous slide, but let me answer it again, because I think this is one thing which is bothering a lot of people. So first thing is, I am not from programming background myself. Okay, I come from mechanical engineering background, and till my graduation, I had never even opened Excel file in college days, right? So I have done fairly good. So that's one thing. Number two, I also share that there are many students we get. Actually, a lot of our students are not from programming or technical background. So that there is a difference when you are learning a tool like Python or R in data science. It's not like learning Java for software development. So yes, you are going to learn some programming, but the degree of programming is very different. Learning Python as a software developer or as a developer is a different ball game, or learning Python to do data analysis. So it's different. So think of this way: generally the commands, the code, which you may also like to call it, are very intuitive, and your proficiency to write a program which is, let's say, very, very efficient, if I talk about pure computer science background, does not matter here. And these tools have come a long way. If I talk about using Python for machine learning, 20 years back was very difficult thing. Now the kind of libraries we have, we just need to write 2-3 lines of command and you can run variety of models in Python. So in short, as I said earlier, it's mostly a mental block. Yes, you need some effort, but it's not the kind of effort you need to learn Java for software development. So it's not that it's a cakewalk that you do not need to do anything and just on its own you will get it. No, but let's say when you are learning, going through a professional program under guidance and coaching, if you are weekly putting some regular effort, you can learn it. So forget about people coming from, let's say, engineering background, forget about comp science or non-comp science. As I said, I have seen people from arts, commerce background doing very well. So it would need initial patience. And that's why when we talk about programs for people from non-technical background, we do not directly start from Python or R. We mostly start with Excel, SQL, Tableau, let's say the tools which needs little bit of command, but not really programming. And then you gradually move to the tools like Python or etc.
So we can say like it is limited to some sort of commands that we are going to use, and apart from that, we don't need any kind of certain like
Yeah.
specific knowledge. It is just these commands that we are going to use in our daily basis. That's it.
Correct. So when you are learning Python as for, let's say, as part of any of these courses, you are learning Python specifically for data science. It's very different from learning Python in general for software development. Right?
Well,
Does
thank
it
you.
answer?
It's all yes, it's all clear. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so I also see
Sumit, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Tarun. Actually, I'm attending this session on behalf of my sister who wants to do this course. So we wanted to understand, actually, she has a gap of around 13-14 years due to marriage and further children and getting into all those things. So is it after going through this course, will this course help in restarting her career, or
So
will it?
Arun, I'll be very brief right now because I will not be discussing individual profiles right now. So with 13-14 years of experience, of course, there is a very high amount of challenge. A lot of things depends upon the education background of the candidate, how we can, if there was any work experience prior to marriage break and all that. We see candidates who are able to succeed. Of course, the proportion is low. So the degree of difficulty after 13-14 years to restart career increases to great degree. But as I said, I will be happy to answer this in more detail because there are other parameters to be taken into consideration later on. So I'm so sorry, as part of this webinar, I will not be taking up individual profiles, but happy to do that post webinar.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Akhtar, do you have any question? I see hand raised from you also.
Yes, sir. Hello, good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, sir, actually, I have done graduation in 2017, and that was from distance learning program. And I secured 43% in my graduation. So is there any percentage criteria to get placement in MNC's company, or should I not go for this course?
So there is. So I'll put it this way. Some companies, especially MNCs, will have this criteria that your degree or education should be full-time and in first division, right? So you can say 50% of the companies, 50-60% of companies, especially if I talk about the large companies, will have this criteria. However, in data science, a lot of opportunities these days are with smaller companies, startups. There are, let's say, 50 people company, 100 people company, and with the right skills, they are open to it. So some of the companies you can target will get filtered out because they will have first division criteria. But still, let's say comfortably 40-50% of the organizations will be open if the candidate has right skills.
So, sir, can I switch after getting few years experience in MNCs?
Yes. So after few years of experience, this filter does go down. But there are companies I know for that matter, even if you have experience, If your education is not full-time or first division, that will always remain there. But as I said,
Yes.
that is going to be limiting few companies, but not the field of analytics. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Sumit, Shankar here.
Yes, Shankar.
I'm having around 7 years of experience into like.
Again, sorry, we are diverging a lot to the personal profiles. I am very happy to connect over the call one-to-one. In interest of everyone's time, no more individual profiles, please.
Okay.
Yeah, my team. So you must be in touch with someone at Analytics Labs. They can help you to connect with me. I'll be discussing with you one-to-one in that case.
Okay, Sumit. Okay, sure.
Okay. So Prateek, any questions from your side?
Yeah.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. There are two Pratiks, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
The one who raised hand.
Yeah. So basically, I have a question that is like a plus to the second last question when we are talking about the eligibility check from the MNCs. So let's say we are talking about the person who has done the graduation. Now I am kind of a person who has done post graduation also in MBA. So my graduation marks were like 59%, and then the post graduation marks were 80%. So which matters to those MNCs, the last degree, which is like the MBA, or the graduation marks?
See, for large set of companies, your last degree will reflect the improvement in your academics,
Okay.
right? But there will be still 10-20% of the companies which will have that filter. If you're, especially if you're a fresher category or low tenure category, they will have filter that it has to be first degree. But guys, as I'm saying, there are very few companies. I don't want to name any company on the webinar. In last 10 years, I have only seen one case where candidate cleared everything and all that just because the degree was not in first division. She could not join it, right? So it's a very rare thing. In current job world, skill matters most. We are fortunately moving into a world where the formal degrees and all that have started mattering less, especially after pandemic. So the education itself has transformed a long way. It's mostly skill-based education. So to answer your question, if you have any such concerns, there will be very few such companies where your profile may get filtered out because of first division and all that. By and large, the demand in analytics such that if you have good skills, you will be getting good opportunities.
Okay, thanks, dear.
There's one more question before we proceed with the process. Like these are the different modules that we are going to learn. So can you just specify all of them would be like live interactive sessions, or will be having some e-learning or self-paced mode also included in this program?
We have both learning modes. When you opt for live training, 90% of it is going to be live training. Sometimes small components, optional components, or pre-learning components, right, would be in e-learning. And even for the e-learning components, you get full support for your doubts and all that. So I will be showing that part also towards the end of our session.
So I guess maybe if you just want, so can you just put a light after the webinar over the job prospects and just how within 2 to 3 years where we can see ourselves afterwards the webinar, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
We will be having that topic. Great. Okay. So Prateek's question is done. Abhinav, is there anything related to what we are on the current topic?
Hi Sumit, Abhinav here. I just have a small question. Like, is this program targeting a group of persons having an experience, let's say 1 or 2 years, or this program will help to a person having an experience of or a domain expertise of more than 10-12 years also?
See, if we talk about the skills you need to learn as a foundation, fundamental and all that, that actually does not vary a lot if you are, let's say, 0 to 2 years of experience or 10 years of experience. However, there would be modules within the program where one has to focus more versus the other. So that will depend upon your profile. And then how do we help you with your profile building and job assistance? So that thing will be there. But when you are a beginner in data science, let's say 10 years of experience and 0 to 2, and both are new to data science, the initial set of learnings you have to go through will be same. However, somewhere around when you're done with the 50% of program, your focus area will start changing at that point of time. So I'll throw light on this also when I talk about the programs.
Yeah, in terms of job prospectus also and a salary increment also, you please share some insights now that how would it help for a person with a such an experience.
We'll be doing that, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Sivanand Atre from Odisha. So I passed out BCom regular degree in 2018. So my degree percentage 54%, but my communication skill not good. But can I face problem to go to data analyst field role?
So Sivanand, we get profiles like yours where the communication skills are, let's say, not that great. However, when you are learning a program, which let's say for your kind of profile will take about 6 months, right? We also advise you to focus on that side. So there is some guidance we provide. Sometimes candidates also join some training programs on the side of communication. So it is needed, but there are ways to improvise, especially for, let's say, people coming from rural, suburban, fresher candidates. This comes up, but they do learn that aspect as well. So you will have to focus on that also.
Okay, sir. Sir, your institute provides SAS language for data analyst field role.
Sivanand, I'll talk about it. No, we are not doing SAS after 2019 because most of the jobs are focused on R and Python. So we used to do SAS up to 2019, but any program we do, the focus is that it should be targeted to a job. So given the job possibilities are much higher in R Python, that is where we focus now.
One more question, last question, I guess. Sorry to interrupt. Like Power BI is also a tool that is too used in certain countries, like specific companies. So can we know, like, is it going to be there, or how is it different from these kind of?
We have option for Power BI learning also. Let me talk about it as part of the program. That is there.
Hello, Sumit. Hello, banking or finance and sector.
I suggest I'll be again taking pause to take up the questions. A lot of questions are digressing from the actual topic as of now. Let me take many of these questions a later part. Right?
Sumit, one thing.
Yeah.
This side Shalind.
Yeah, Shalind.
I have completed my graduation in 2017. Learn things
I'm
from.
So sorry.
No. One thing, only one thing, sir.
So individual questions I'll be taking related to your graduations, right? We have already.
No, sir. Question is not about for graduation. It's how to start, because I have learned R, Python, Power BI, SQL, NoSQL, Prod SQL in an unorganized way. So how to start? I have gone to analytics lab, Gurgaon branch, also offline branch. So I'm don't understanding how to. I have made my account in Kaggle, GitHub repository. So
I'll be talking about this part. How, let's say once you have the skills, what are the ways to get started?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So now, pardon me, I'll be taking more questions now when we take a pause. Let's get back into the topic we really intend to discuss for next few minutes. So we talked about what is data science and how does the process of data science look at a high level. What are the key things which are involved as part of data science process? Now, to understand it better, we also need to understand that data science or analytics can be divided into different stages and categories. So there are two ways to look at it. First, we will look at a very simpler manner where we are dividing this into 3 categories. After this, we'll also understand at more one level deeper where we will be dividing this into 5 categories. So the first thing is descriptive analytics, which is fundamentally about answering the business questions which are related to the past. So what has happened in past, or it is backward looking. So let's say if a business has questions like how satisfied are my customers? How has business performed in terms of, let's say, revenue and profit in last 1 year? Where in which cities we are losing the revenue? Okay. For let's say a company like Flipkart, it could be how many orders were returned in last year in tier 1 cities versus tier 2 cities, right? Or for a credit card company, it could be the proportion of default in different age groups. So if you see, all these questions are backward looking, that what has happened in the business so far. So this kind of analytics is generally also named as business intelligence, MIS reporting, right? And we use tools which are more focused on, let's say, descriptive analytics with less focus on statistical analysis or machine learning tools. So tools like Tableau, Excel, SQL, ClickView, Power BI, these are some of the popular tools which are generally used for this form of analytics. But let's take an example of Ola or Uber. And we say here that for this company, they want to understand the number of bookings they got from different cities, how many bookings were for small cars and how many were for sedans. Okay, so this kind of question will fall into descriptive analytics. Now, why I am taking this example? Because when I move to the next part, predictive, I will be taking another example from a similar type of business, which will help you to understand what is the difference between descriptive and predictive. So when my question, business question, changes from descriptive, which is what has happened in past, to future, what could happen next, that is where we are talking about predictive analytics. So obviously a lot of business value comes in knowing what will happen next. So descriptive analytics might have told you how many customers are dissatisfied, but if you have to predict how many of the dissatisfied customers may leave using your services, okay, or for a credit card company, how many customers are likely to default on their credit card bills, right? For a BPO company, it could be how many people we need, what is the size of staff we need to answer the expected number of calls in the coming quarter, right? We talked about Uber, Ola, etc. For them, it could be, okay, in this quarter, for different type of cities, what is the volume of bookings are we expecting? Do we have enough drivers to cater to those kind of bookings? So fundamentally, the type of question has now changed from backward looking to the future looking, what would happen next. In this kind of analysis, we start using more sophisticated techniques like statistical models, machine learning models, forecasting models, which can throw the answers which are forward looking. So the fundamental difference here is backward looking versus forward looking. And in this category, the tools also start getting more sophisticated in terms of their capabilities. So if I talk about the present set of scenario, your Python would be the most widely used tool, followed by R for performing predictive analytics. Any questions on descriptive versus predictive till now?
No, I think we are good.
Lots of banking or financial sector, they use SAS language. One of my friends job job in KPHP.
Yeah. So banking is the only field where we still see some usage of SAS, but trust me, over the years that even that has changed. So we started using R and Python in 2014, 13. We started using R. In 2015-16, we started using Python. And all this while we were doing SAS. But in 2019, we finally stopped using SAS because the job demand and everything had predominantly moved to R and Python. So yes, a small fraction of jobs these days are still on SAS. But primarily, if I talk about, if you have to put your effort right now, you will try to choose the job, the tool where 95% of the jobs are lying. So that is your Python and R will suffice. So I have a very detailed ebook and blog on this topic also. Happy to share that post webinar with all the attendees. So you might want to go through that. Okay, the next stage is we understand what has happened, what could happen. Now we also need our analytics to suggest what should we do, basically choosing the best course of action. So let's say we also want the answers that which of the customers are, let's say, likely to book the cab. But we also want answers at what price should we offer them cab. So you see a lot of these app-based cab companies, their prices changes based on the time of the day, the type of the city, the location within the city, because they are doing all this optimization, permutation, combination that based on the demand and supply, how much price can we charge. Another example could be Google Maps. From going to point A to B, you can have 5 different routes, but based on the traffic time, it will choose which route to take. So that is part of your prescriptive analytics, which is basically helping us to understand what should we do. Guys, please be on mute. So any other example which comes to your mind when you think of prescriptive analytics? There is one very good example, and most of us are exposed to it in different ways. Okay, so when you see product suggestions on Amazon or Flipkart, that is also prescriptive analytics, that what kind of products a customer might be interested in. When you see suggestions on Netflix, and can you please be on mute? There is some background noise coming. So when you see,
Sumit, can you please mute the people?
Yeah. So when you see Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, you also get suggestions that what do you like, you may like to watch. And these days, these suggestions are actually quite accurate, especially if I talk about YouTube, Netflix, etc. That is also part of prescriptive analytics, where my analytics models are able to take into factor multiple aspects and dimensions and throw the suggestion that what should be done. So basically, we are moving from backward looking to future looking to even what should be done, what has happened, what could happen, and what should we do. In this case, the kind of analytics we do, it starts heavily dependent upon optimization, machine learning, deep learning, AI models. And along with your R Python, you would also need some cloud-based tools because the volume of the data and the real-time analytics needs all these things. Right. So now on the same lines, we will go one step deeper, because there could be actually a business scenario where we know what has happened, what could happen, but in between, we also want to understand why it happened. So the why part of it. So if we go one level deeper, these types can be actually understood as 5 types. Descriptive, we understood just in the previous slide. Predictive also we understood. Between descriptive and predictive, we have diagnostics. That what has happened. Now we want to examine the cause of past reason, that why it has happened. So in descriptive, we hardly use any statistical analysis, right? In predictive, we in fact go up to statistical models, machine learning models. Here we may start using some statistical analysis. So this form of analytics is something which comes in between. So it is good to understand at a high level descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, but if we have to go a level deeper, we also have diagnostic. Right? Does it make sense, guys?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, a question which usually comes up when I talk about prescriptive, that is it AI? We can say yes, prescriptive is an AI, but if we really have to go even more advanced, there is more to it, which we may call as cognitive analytics. So if we talk about the intelligent chatbot, we talk about smart driving cars. We talk about smart assistants like Alexa, Siri, etc. They all fall into the category of cognitive. So now those machines can not just understand what is the best course of action to be taken, they can also automatically take that action. They can talk back to you. They can ask right set of questions to you. They can act on behalf of you. So these kind of robotic AI-driven robots, chatbots, self-driving cars, all that falls into the category of cognitive analytics. So this is in short highly AI dependent and AI driven. Right. So any questions, guys, here? Because this was some question on AI and machine learning. If you see now, we start from very basic analytics, and as the level of the sophistication, the value driven from that data and analytics increases, we are more and more dependent upon machine learning and AI.
Sumit, can you give an example of the prescriptive modeling?
Yeah. So if I have to name a technique, so there is one very popular method called association analysis or market basket analysis. So if we talk about the most simplest way about it, so it is like in old times, when I say old times, I am talking about 20 years back in retail analytics, companies used to understand that what are the products which people buy together, and they would, let's say, make a basket comprising of those things. For example, in Europe, US, 20 years back, you will often see combo packets of milk, bread, and eggs, right? A very, very simple, crude example. If I talk about the current times, now this has come to the level of sophistication where in e-commerce, companies are doing the same thing. So they are using prescriptive analytics to tell you that people who bought this also bought this. So a common thing you see on Amazon website or Flipkart website, or for that matter, any e-commerce website. Similarly, when you see suggestions on YouTube, Netflix, that people who watch this also like to watch this, that is also prescriptive analytics. That model has learned from the past buying pattern or past viewing pattern from people like you, because many of the times YouTube also knows your gender and age and your location, your language. So it is taking care of all those data into consideration and throwing up the suggestions. That's prescriptive analytics.
Thank you, Sumit. It answers. Thank you.
Hello, Sumit. I have a question. Varun this side.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I get about the prescriptive analytics. There are 3 analytics generally. So I didn't able to get the difference between descriptive and predictive, because in case of prescriptive, we analyzing the solution. We are looking for the solution, right? But in case of descriptive and predictive, both looks like similar, like what has happened and what could be happened. So here we are analyzing the problems. So how we get the difference in first two analytics?
See, I'll go back to the previous slide. You have actually answered that yourself. When it is what has happened, it's a question from the past, backward looking, right? When I'm saying what could happen next, that is predictive, that is your future looking. Number one, fundamental nature of
In predictive, like, after applying, after having the solution, we do predictive analysis.
No. You may do it even before applying the solution. So let me put it this way. How many orders were returned in last quarter? What kind of analysis is this, guys?
Descriptive.
Descriptive, that how many orders were returned.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I also want to estimate for my business planning, logistics planning, operations planning, how many orders am I expecting to be returned in next quarter?
That's predictive.
Predictive. The fundamental nature has changed. Now, of course, what I am putting as an example is a simple example. The question could be more detailed. This question could be asked at a category level, that how many laptop orders will be returned. Okay, so it could be a lot on the more detailed level, and it could be also tier one. Tier
You have it right, I think.
You got the answer? Varun, is it clear?
Yes, all right.
Perfect. Okay. Great. So as I already mentioned, the the type of analysis, the tools and techniques do also change between these different stages. Okay. Now we understand analytics space, we understand overall analytics process. We also understand that different type of analytics. So the thing is, who is a data scientist? We can simply say who does all this. Well, that answer is fine as a beginner or at a very high level, but we will understand this in more detailed level because data scientist alone cannot do this. So we are gradually coming to that stage. So first thing is data scientist needs to know multiple things. It's an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary thing. But my favorite definition is a data scientist, someone who knows more statistics than a computer scientist and more computer science than a statistics. That's my statistician. So that is my most favorite definition of a data scientist. And I think somewhere this also answers the questions on the programming, which we discussed, that you need to know programming, but you do not need to know programming like a computer scientist or a software developer. So as a data scientist, you need to have understanding of some statistical techniques, machine learning techniques. But at the same time, you do not need to be a statistician who has to, let's say, derive these equations and models. At the same time, you need to have an understanding of R Python to draw data, to do different kind of models and techniques. But you do not need to be, let's say, an expert who does everything like building the applications out of that software, Python, etc. But one thing I would want to also add here is as a data scientist, or let me put it this way, a good data scientist will also have some business understanding, which this definition misses. So a good data scientist should also have some understanding on the business problem he's trying to solve, the business domain. Let's say you are a data scientist with 1 year of experience, it's fine. Your focus area could be statistics and Python. Okay. But when you're a data scientist with 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience, what have you focused upon? Which industry do you know best? Have you been working in a banking industry for 10 years? Then you also need to have domain understanding to be called as a good or effective data scientist. Right? So a data scientist will build data based solutions products, right? You will be doing descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. The kind of things you will do data extraction, obtain the data, scrub the data, which is basically preparing the data, exploring the data, basically understanding the data in more details, build the models, interpret the model, share it with your stakeholders. So the kind of process we discussed at high level, data scientists should be able to carry out those things effectively, and that is where the combination of different tools and techniques will come into picture. So any questions at this stage? These are some of the, let's say, things a data scientist might be doing. Not all, but most of them.
So we must be starting with the data analyst, right? That is the initial position that we would be getting to just go ahead with the data, to collect, to clean, and to just predict the model, or visualize the data. That is the first thing, right?
Exactly.
And
That
then
is
we
a very
go to data
important.
engineer,
Yes,
and then data scientist.
correct. So I will be talking about this in a lot more detail, because the point you are touching upon is very, very important to understand for everyone. But the simple answer to your question at this stage is yes, but I will be talking about this in much more detail in some time. Okay. Yes, Akhtar, you have a question?
Yes, sir. I have one question. Can I skip SQL part in data science course?
Not recommended at all, especially if you are a beginner. SQL is a very important thing. Again, if you are, let's say, scared of SQL because of XYZ reasons, I can assure you, don't worry about it. SQL can be 100 hours course also, and SQL can be 20 hours course. What you need for the role of data analytics, data scientist, your 15-20 hours of course is enough. So in fact, if you learn SQL properly, it will lay a very good foundation to learn things like Python, etc. So I will not recommend at all to skip SQL. You must learn it. It's going to be a very important skill as data analyst, as data scientist.
Okay, so thank you, sir.
Yes, Abhinav.
Hi, Sumit. One question from my side, like while going through some articles over data science, now I have come through like data science could be have multiple specializations. One is the data analyst, second is the data engineering, then AI and ML engineer, then certain other things also. Okay.
Right.
Now I want to understand, like that the analytics lab also is offering different courses. One is DS360, another one is a specialized course into AI and ML, and one is also BS360 business intelligence. So how
Correct.
do one understand that which is the best suitable course for the person to pursue his career? How do we make an informed choice or informed decision that in terms of the job prospectus, in terms of the experience one is having, how to decide on this?
Yeah, very good question. This is important part of the discussion. I will be I will be taking the three most important courses or the popular courses we have: integrated, data science 360, and business analytics 360, and help you to understand what are the advantages or benefits and which kind of profile can consider which type of course, number one. But before we do that, I want you to understand the job roles very well. So that is where I'm heading. I'm now moving towards the different kind of job roles, etc. Then we talk about the courses, so that you understand the value proposition of different course is for what kind of job role.
Yeah, and one more thing I just want to ask, like in certain instances I have gone through some articles that data science is a dying career in coming time. So how much is this correct, that it will be the time for AI and ML? And in certain articles, like in fact the word is moving through some Excel also, because some new technology is popping up. So if we
Experience
Auto
learning.
ML. Auto
yeah
ML.
yeah so if we are sitting today, then how should we look our future in next 5 to 10 years,
Yeah,
that how the
yeah,
world will be changing, how the technology will be evolving, how it is
sure.
beneficial one for to change the domains, like
See,
that also I want to understand na?
see, if I take my example, this
Yeah,
is 15th year. In 5 months, I'll be completing 15 years. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
The kind of tools I have gone through, Excel, SPSS, SAS, SQL, R, Hadoop, Python, Spark, right? So the tools will keep changing. The type of work you, or the power of these tools, or the type of work you are doing this in tools, that will also evolve. As the tools will become, let's say, more powerful, you may start skipping some basic things and tools are able to take care of it. Okay. So, but few things are always going to be in place. For example, even when you talk about auto ML, it will make this more and more automated.
Yeah.
Right? However, that thought process, that mindset to connect business problem with the data, picking up the right data, right? Ensuring that data quality preparation is also making sense, right? Making qualitative decisions on that data, right? A lot of these things will still need a data science professional. Let's say your importance or learning a tool or programming may reduce, but that mindset and thought process, which helps you to pick up the right decision, because tools can't really do that for you. So that context, that business domain, so things can automate, tools will become more powerful. Auto AML will, let's say if you need 10 hours to build a model, with auto AML, we have auto AML right now also, but those libraries do not work very well. So I can tell, I have a blog on that also, where we are talking about those libraries, but still you need that data scientist mindset to make the perfect decision, or let's say close to the perfect decision. So that the knowledge on tools has a value, and the tool will change, that value will reduce, you will need to learn a new tool. But the most important value you will have as a data science professional is that thought process, that business understanding, and how to use these tools and techniques for the actual value add. So don't worry about it. When you say that the data science professional is this job is dying, it's a half-baked truth. It's let's say not things understand in full context. So it's never going to be like that. You
That's
keep
why
evolving.
that's why I asked this question, okay, because I can made an inference like that also. If as of now there might be like say 10 lakh openings in the in India about for these kind of roles, might be in the next 5 years it will going to saturate, so there might be 10,000 minus delta openings will be there na. This could be the right inference I can made, I guess.
Yes, you can make it. See, if that was the case, the saturation would have happened now. But why I'm telling is, earlier the data science was, let's say, was used only with limited companies, let's say banking, finance. Then retail companies started doing it, right? Then manufacturing came very late to the domain.
And still
Right? This is
very
this
less.
is like saying the profession of doctors will vanish because AI is there. No, the doctors may start doing more and more operations, hand-driven operations. But even if the robots and AI is helping them to it, you still need doctor to be there.
Yeah.
Yes, it's that kind of thing. So a lot of things will become automated. AI will take some of the mundane and repetitive jobs, but you still need a lawyer to finally make the decision.
Yeah. Okay.
You might make a machine, but you still need to be that creator, right?
Correct.
So your existence is not going to end up anyways.
Exactly. You evolve. See, there used to be carts pulled by humans. Motors came, right? But still, then that job changed to a driver. Right? It's that kind of world we live in. So don't worry about it. You will also evolve. Your skills will also evolve.
Yeah, I got your point. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I am going to talk about one important thing now. After that, we will be moving to the things related to job roles, skills, and all that. So after we talk about this aspect, the enterprise level analytics solution, we will then take a break, short break, and then we'll get into the details of different type of job roles, skills, what should one can pick, and all those kind of things. But before that, let's understand the overall view, or let's say an enterprise level view of analytics. As I said, data science and analytics is a process where we have to achieve some business objectives, but a lot of things go into that before. And the starting point is always going to be data. Now, the world we live in, everything is connected. Your cameras are smart these days. You have smart devices, Apple Watches and whatnot. Your cars are connected. In India, we are still seeing the beginning of it, but it is changing very rapidly. Then you have ERP data, enterprise resource planning, or CRM data. What does this mean? Whenever, let's say, you are swiping your credit card to buy a coffee, that bank's ERP system is storing that transaction, that, okay, you have swiped a credit card for XX amount at this outlet in this city. Okay. At the same time, if you are, let's say, buying that coffee from Starbucks, Starbucks is also storing that a customer named or with the phone number this has made this purchase. He likes to purchase beverage plus something to eat, and this is the amount he has spent. And this is the third time he has visited this outlet in last 1 month, right? So anything and everything we are doing offline, which we think is offline, is actually not offline anymore. On our apps, on our credit cards, in a coffee shop or a restaurant, on Zomato or Swiggy, everything is getting converted into that data. And that is the data which becomes basically the, let's say, the feeds into the AI driven world or the machine learning driven world. So what you have here is showing different type of data: gaming data, social media data, data from your mobile website activities, data from your so-called offline activities. Everything is generating data. Now, this data can also be structured. When I say structured data, I mean to say the data which can be, let's say, stored in numbers, digits as a table. That is your structured data. But let's say when you're chatting with the customer care, it's unstructured data. When you're typing something on an app with a chat bot, or what you're doing on social media, it's unstructured data. So a lot of data comprising of structured, unstructured data is generated. So text data, speech data, images data is called unstructured data. The data which can be stored as tables, Excel files, etc., that is your structured data. This data has to be ingested on servers, which are mostly these days cloud-based, right? So a lot of activity which is happening here is related to storing the data, managing that data, having an ability to access that data, right? One example, let's say a customer is doing 20 transactions in a month on a credit card. So that data can be stored at transaction level also, and that data can be stored as customer level also. That in your data table, you have one row for that customer, or you can maintain 20 rows for that customer. So a lot of these things come into picture. So the ability to store that data, manage that data, is broadly called data engineering. So essentially here we do ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading, right? So it comes to us very naturally. We do not think about it, but trust me, there is a lot of engineering and resources that goes into making this possible, making possible that data is properly, that data is available when an organization needs it. So what, let's say even when you are booking
Sumit, sorry to interrupt. Hello, Sumit, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, but there is some
Yeah.
disruption.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this part of data engineering. So I think maybe you will be also covering that. So this data ingestion phase that we are talking about.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to understand like who is responsible for this part. Is it a different team or is it
I will
shared
be talking about this in
among?
much detail. I will be talking about this in much detail. That's what I said. That those are the things I'll be talking about. Who is responsible for what skill, who
Yeah,
needs.
I mean, who are the actors
Yeah.
for providing the source of data and cleaning up?
Yeah.
Because that looks like a huge
Yeah,
amount of.
I'll be doing it. I'll be doing it. Give me some time. We are getting there. We are getting there. Okay. So what I was saying, that this comes to us automatically. We do not think about it, but trust me, a lot of effort goes into it. Even when you're booking food from Zomato or Swiggy, a lot of data is getting generated, a lot of data is getting fetched between the servers and the clouds, right? Now, once that data is, let's say, stored, and it is stored in the required manner, as I gave you an example, that data can be stored at transaction level, that data can be stored as customer level, right? You may want to store the data in rupee, or you might want to store the data in dollars. So all those kind of things can happen at that stage. After this, the data gets loaded into analytics databases. These analytics databases could be, again, simple, traditional SQL based, no SQL based, cloud based, right? Big data based technologies. Now, a pure data science things comes after this. So after this, everything was data engineering till this point. After this, the data science starts. Starting from business understanding, what problem are we going to solve? How are we looking at this data? Analyzing and understanding that data, using that data for actual analytics, visualization, creating dashboards and charts, etc. So that's where your tools like Python, R, statistical analysis, statistical models, machine learnings to come into picture. So, so far, when you guys would be thinking about data science, you would be thinking about only this. But trust me, to be a successful data scientist or data science professional for that matter, you may not be doing this, but you need to have some understanding of this side. So that is where you will know how a good data science solution will work. As I said, it is not about one person doing everything, but it is about the person who is doing this can also understand or communicate with the person who is doing data engineering. Similarly, the person who is responsible for data engineering should have a fair amount of idea about data science also. What are the things a data scientist or data science teams would need? How should we store the data? So there has to be a common language between these two. They should understand both the sides of it. For any successful enterprise, that is very, very important. Now, there is a very important thing which we just talked about. That is one person responsible for doing all this? Who takes care of what? How do we take care of it? What skills we need? So all that is the next thing which I'm going to answer. But before we go there, we'll stop for a break. And before we stop for a break, tell me if you have any questions here. I will be anyway leaving this slide on the screen. Yeah.
Hello, Sumit. I'm Hari Prasad.
Yes, Hari.
When I heard you telling the data science or some part of data science will get automated in future.
Yeah.
So pointing towards the data analytics as a career option. So there is a lot of news on multiple websites and blog sites telling analytics especially may get automated in future.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at a career in data analytics, so should I be worried in like 10 to 15 years down the lane?
See, 15 years is such
Too
a
long.
long time in
It's a very
future.
long time.
You can't worry about it. Trust
So
me.
I'm telling like,
Even in year 2005, no one knew there will be a job called data scientist by 2011.
True. Yeah.
Okay. I answered this question in a way, even if things do automate, right? Someone is needed to tell what to automate or how to automate, right? And or what you have automated, is it right or wrong?
Yes.
Right. As we say, in future, my AI driven robots would be doing most of the surgeries, right? But you still need a doctor to tell what needs to be done, or has it been done right, or if what goes wrong, what needs to be done in that case, right? Or what are the right combination of drugs? AI will not be able to do everything. Similarly, even if as an analytics professional, a lot of your job will be automated, it is already, a lot of this is already automated. 5 years back versus now, a lot of this is already automated. So what happens is the repetitive work, the work which was very mundane in nature, it goes off your plate, but the more value adding work you still do, right? I shared an example that earlier manual labor used to pull the carts, right? Then engines came in, motors came in, that job role changed into a driver. Correct. So similarly, the people who were doing data analytics in Excel 10 years back, they are doing data analytics in more powerful tools. They are moving from data analytics to, let's say, data scientist roles or data engineering roles. Similarly, if your job right now in future automates it, your skill will evolve, your whole industry will evolve, that your responsibilities will also evolve. So there is nothing to worry. But yes, we are living in a world where unlearning and learning will be a constant thing. It's not going to be a case that we obtain a degree and now let's 30 years we can work similarly the way our generations, 1 or 2 generations back did. So that's not going to be there. But yes, you will have to learn, put effort into learning continuously, but worrying will not solve it.
Yes, got it.
Sumit, hi.
Yes, hi.
A quick question. I wanted to know that this data science course is offered by, nowadays by so many prestigious institutes.
Yeah.
So just wanted to know what is your USP? Like, what is there that differentiates an analytics lab, like, from these providers?
Sure. I will be talking about this in detail when we talk about the different courses we offer, right? What is the difference? I'll be taking a very, very practical take on it, because this is a question which, since we are probably one of the oldest in industry, like say we are here since 2011. So we have heard this many of the times. I also hear questions that in 500 rupees on Udemy, I am getting Python with data science. Why should be I spending 40,000, right? I have seen these questions in my corporate trainings, and same person who asked this question enrolling in Udemy also, and 3 months down the line enrolling in our course also. So I'll be answering this question in very much detail. Give me some time. This is probably not the right time to answer, because I want to answer it well with all the right set of details.
Sure.
So what we will do right now as part of our session flow, I'm taking pause here. I am leaving this screen as it is. If you have any questions, you may ask right now, or you may think about it during the next 5-10 minutes break we will have. Because after this, I am going to get into the question which many people are already waiting for. The questions of different type of job roles, what is meant for whom, who is responsible for what. So that's going to be very important. But before that, we want to understand, we have understood this part. So right now it's 11:35. We will resume maximum by 11:45, 10 minutes pause, a breather for you guys. but the screen is going to be on the same slide. So two things, any questions which comes on your mind related to the topic which we have on the screen. Second, I would request everyone to drop their email IDs on the chat. You guys would already have, we already have your email IDs. I think that's how you are attending this session. But there are few reference materials, some blog links I want to share with you guys post the session. So it will be helpful if you can start sharing your email IDs in this chat, so that post the session we can share those details. Right, shall we stop for break now?
Yeah, sure, please.
Sure.
Okay. So stay connected. I'm just pausing the session. I'm not stopping it. So please let me know in case anyone has questions to be discussed.
Yes, I would like to start.
Sure.
So my first question is, I guess we are going to have data mining or something related to be in this course curriculum, right?
Yeah.
What is it and how is it related to cryptos? I guess you must have heard the mining is there.
Yeah.
I went through certain topics, so can you just brief it?
Yeah. See, data mining is not is very different from crypto mining. In fact, I do not know much about crypto mining, honestly speaking. When it comes to data mining, the whole objective is to perform certain activities in order to extract the data we need, to understand what is there in each of the variables, in what form, present it, and if there are relations between different variables, how do we understand and how do we present that relationship? So the word mining between these two is very, let's say that it's a language similarity, not the technique similarity. So I won't be able to throw much light on the crypto mining. In fact, your question makes me curious about it. I'm going to study about it today later on. But data mining is mostly what we are doing, let's say, to an extent. After this stage that the data is loaded into analytics databases and we are extracting it. So a lot of things, when we say data mining, are basically what we saw as part of the process here: extracting the data, preparing the data exploration. So a lot of this comes as part of data mining.
So why I asked you this question is, hello, am I audible?
Yes.
So why I asked this question is because what I supposed to like understand is, after data mining, we are going to just use some algorithms, then only we will be just prescribing a model that should
Yes.
work. Yes. Is it?
Yes.
And same in the data mining, if I went through little of it, because when I was searching for that same thing. So in that crypto also there is a you can say use of algorithms where we use calculus and instead whatever it is to just present some outcomes, right, to crack those. So that is the main thing that I was curious about, like how is it related to this field, because somewhere down the line it is on the same.
Yes.
We are
No,
obviously
so when
into
you're
the CS.
talking about algorithms, I'm sure here we are talking about machine learning algorithms for, let's say, predictive, prescriptive, or AI models. There also the algorithms are involved, and some of them could be on the lines of machine learning. That won't be very surprising. But the date, see, in both the cases, before you are actually able to use the algorithms, you have to do a limited amount of data mining in that case, and very extensive in this case. So algorithms are there, but the nature and the purpose of those algorithms would be very different. So algorithm is a very broader word which we are using here. We are talking about in context of data science, statistical, or machine learning algorithms. There the algorithms are more to find out the patterns, pattern matching, etc. There could be some algorithms overlapping with the techniques, the kind of algorithms we are using here, but the fundamental purpose and the nature is very different.
Okay, so are we somehow dependent more on hardware requirements in case if we talk about algorithms?
We are, yes. The reason
Because
machine learning and AI is so powerful these days, because our hardware, thanks to cloud computing, is also very powerful. If we talk about the mathematical capability of these algorithms, this is not very different from what we had, let's say 5 years back, 10 years back. It's just that with more powerful servers, cloud computing capabilities, we are able to execute these algorithms. So hardware is very important aspect of it.
Because this is the same thing like I little bit studied about it, because when you would be doing the data mining in cryptos or in the same, so you would be needing that like high capabilities graphic cards and all. That is why they are so much expensive, so that anybody cannot access that. And that more depends on the hash storage, I guess, that we call. So
correct. Even for AI models, you need graphic cards, and also let's say we can do machine learning models using our most of the laptops these days available for, let's say, commercial use we guys have. But if I have to do machine learning models, deep learning models, AI models, which I am doing image processing, chatbots, etc., most of the time we need graphic cards, and even that may not be enough. You need cloud computing. So a lot of our students also use Google provides cloud computing capabilities called Google Klab or Google Colabs for Python notebooks. So that part is common.
All right. Well, we'll see about that. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. Okay. So guys, as we understood the enterprise level view or the overall architecture of data science, we also understood there must be different kind of skills or different kind of job roles needed to make that possible. So if I talk about the left hand side of what we discussed, data engineering, these two job roles are very, very important and needed for that. So first here is data architect. This person is responsible for designing the system that can capture the data from multiple sources. When I say sources, online, offline, social media, smart devices, etc., ingest, store, and process. So the person who will be responsible for designing such a system, that this kind of system is in place, which can help me or enable the organization to do this, that person is basically your data architect. So he is designing that solution, he's putting that into place and developing it. So data architect. Do we understand this part? Yes?
Yes.
The person who is responsible to use this system and do these things day in, day out, extracting, transforming and loading the data, processing the data, constructing and developing, that person is called data engineer. Now, very important question. Think about it. Do you guys understand the difference between data architect and data engineer, guys? This is a line of confusion many of the times.
We can say that as in context of a civil engineer and a general architecture, we can just relate to that. So basically what architecture does is to just design the program where you have all the specifications and everything mentioned over there, and engineer is someone who gets it into like real world to make something out of it using that set of details, right?
No,
is it somehow?
I would slightly improvise on it. You are fundamentally going in right direction. Data architect will not be just putting only that on paper. In most of the times also responsible that system is also in place. It has been designed and it has been developed, right? It's basically, let's say in an F1 team, sports car team, data architect is the guy who is designing that car and helping to construct that car. Data engineer is the guy, the driver who is going to drive that car. So what data engineer is doing, once that system is in place, which can capture the data from multiple sources, which can ingest the data, do all the required ETL processes, right? That is the data engineer. So maybe once the system is designed and everything is, data architect's role is done. Okay. Company says that please help us to have a system where we can capture the data from our cars, from our servers, from our social media channels, and for our mobile apps and website. Their data architect says, okay, let me work on it, let me design it, I will have that system. Once that system is placed, the day-to-day work of using that system to have now data in place till this point of time, till this phase, that will be something data engineer will do.
So CRM is somehow related to that kind of like, if we take an example, so just capturing all the data and putting in a right manner.
Yeah.
Completing with every time we fill the forms and everything, so that data could be structured, right?
Correct.
So this is what the data architecture does, right?
Correct. That has put that in place. Yes. Okay, rest of the people, do you understand the difference between data architect and data engineer, or what do these guys do respectively? Any questions on it?
Hi, Sumit. What are the skills required for a data architect, and what are the skills required to be a data engineer?
Good. So when I talk about role of data architect and data engineer, right, the skills are primarily focused on technologies like cloud computing, relationship databases, NoSQL and SQL languages, big data systems like frameworks like Hadoop, Spark, etc. Okay. Now, both guys needs these skills, but one of the guys, architect, needs this skill more from developer point of view. The other guys need this skill from data handling point of view. So they both would be well versed with the similar set of technologies, but their competency might be different. One is able to use these skills to design and develop the system, and the other might be using these skills to extract the data and process the data and load the data, mainly for ETL type of systems. Now, one very, very important point I would want to make here, there could be organizations, there could be job roles where same person is playing both the roles. It is very much possible that it's a, let's say, startup, or let's say it is a mid-sized company. They do not have separate teams for architect and engineer. So a same person is able to cater to this role also and this role also. So even when I talk about the remaining two roles, we will see a lot of fungibility across different type of job roles. So let me give you an example. Let's say there is a e-commerce company, which is a startup, and it has 20 people, and they are recently getting into data analytics, adding 5 people for the data science, data analytics side. So that kind of company might be having only 1 or 2 people, and those guys will be responsible for the complete data engineering solution. And same person could be responsible for both the job roles. Hence, I like to call it job roles. They are roles. Same person can be playing both. At the same time, if I'm talking about, let's say, a very large MNC bank, or let's say even company like Amazon, there could be a different set of people or team for data architecture, and different set of team and people focusing on data engineering.
So we can say, like, add on to that, we can say if it depends on somebody's like you can say skills. If I am more onto the development side, then I would go for architecture. And if I'm more onto the outcomes extraction and also I'll go to the data engineering, having the same skill set. That's it.
Correct. And it is also possible that company you have worked, let's say, for 5 years as a data architect. There is a new job role opportunity. They also want you, can you also play some of the data engineering responsibilities? Since you have worked in this side, you also understand this side fairly well. You may say, yes, I can do that, right? Other way around may not be so much true. So it is possible a person can be very effective data engineer, but can't develop or can't play the role of data architect if he has or she has never done it before. But there is always a possibility that one person might be playing or one team might be playing both the responsibilities. Right? Are we good about this?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. If anyone has questions, please ask without any hesitations.
So Sumit, one more thing in addition to this, like for a person to be a data architect or a data engineer, he must be from a IT field only, or he could be from a different field.
So these job roles,
Matlab, this is
data engineering job
system designing and development, huh? Yeah.
So data engineering job roles are primarily meant for people coming from IT background. So this is one thing I wanted to mention at some point of time. Let's say you are coming from IT background, database background, DevOps background, so development background, big data, data engineering related job roles could be very good starting point for you to start your career in data science. And trust me, these days, it is more difficult to find data engineers than data analysts or data scientists. So a lot of our clients are struggling and they are seeking more help from our side on the data engineering side, that please help us to hire data engineering professionals. So all of you folks who are from, let's say, IT solutions, IT background, please do give this as a serious consideration, that rather than just running after data scientist job role, data engineering could be a very good starting point and very lucrative also. And trust me, the kind of salaries data engineers command these days, they are no less than data scientist salaries. But I'm coming to it. Give me a few more minutes. The next thing is the data analyst job role, where this person is responsible for a lot of things we have already discussed: data collection, extraction, data munging, which is basically your data preparation and exploration, data visualization, analytics. This will also involve some statistical analysis and visualization and storytelling. We all understand this. When it comes to data analyst versus data scientist, the biggest difference would be data scientist would have good amount of responsibilities on predictive modeling and machine learning, NLP, natural language processing. So if someone asks me what is the difference between data analyst and data scientist, a data scientist would be doing everything which data analyst is doing, plus will also be working more on machine learning models, predictive models, and unstructured data. So along with all these skills, the additional skills which data scientist brings in is, let's focus on two. One, ability to deal with structured and unstructured data both, while data analyst mostly works on structured data, right? Very few opportunities or work on the unstructured data. Second difference is machine learning or advanced algorithms, where data analyst may not be working so much on it, or at least in the initial part of the career, while data scientist is expected to be well versed with all these algorithms, hence also effectively use the unstructured data. Needless to say, many people, especially in the beginning of their career, start their career as data analyst and migrate to data scientist. It is also possible that 80% of your job role would be focused on these kind of responsibilities, 20% on this. As you grow more senior, more responsibilities, you start playing more and more role of data scientist. So here also, one person might be doing both the things. In, let's say, first 4 years of my career, 3 to 4 years of my career, I have played both the things. In first 3 years of my career, I was mostly focused on this, then gradually started moving on to these responsibilities. So this is another thing I want to be very sure that you guys understand, that as a beginner, as a person who is starting career in data science, you will need both the things. Your focus might be higher here initially, but as part of the interviews, many times companies do prefer candidates who have understanding and knowledge of this, even if most of the work initially is going to be at the data analyst level.
One more thing I want to ask in between. Like, we are good with the data analyst part, but these additions where we can say machine learning is there and all, so that is more focused on language and all, I guess.
See, in both the cases, you might be using Python as your primary language of analytics. Okay. In data scientists, what will happen? You will start using more libraries.
Okay.
Which are, let's say, machine learning based and all that. So your tool or language may not change. Only thing is your libraries and algorithms, new algorithms and libraries will get introduced.
So we can, just use the enhanced version or expanded version of the same thing.
Correct. In fact, if you are good at a data analyst level to handle data, you can work on SQL and Python. Moving to machine learning, your tool will not be a problem. It will be developing the overall understanding of the algorithm, of the business problem and all that. The tool, if you have reached this stage, tool will never be a problem for you.
Okay. Otherwise, if somebody is not good with that, so that there might be a point that we could be stuck to the data analyst.
See, I won't say stuck. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Some people find it wiser to play on their strengths. So what happens is, let's say someone is very good. I know very, very senior people focused on this role. Okay. Like even up to the VP level, they have always focused on this side. They have grown in that role. What you do along with this, you basically then make your business domain understanding as a strength. So you start playing more of a consultant, analytics consultant role rather than a data science role. So it is totally possible that a person may focus on this side with some understanding of this side, but as they grow in tenure, their focus is then business analytics or analytics consultant side of it. So it's fine. So one important thing here, I have already mentioned that one person might be playing both the roles, as I talked about in my example. And there have been projects. One person can play all the three roles. I have done that. Of course, my expertise in that case on data engineering side would be low. I will not be an expert data engineer, but at least some of the things which are needed for data ETL part, extraction, transmission, loading, I can do myself, even if rest of the team on the data engineering side is not present. And this is very common in the consulting organizations, because let's say you're working on a project, client has data engineering and architect teams, but as a data scientist or analytics consultant, you can't go back to the client for each and everything, right? So you need to have some understanding of ETL process, data construction, etc. And you may do what is required. So maybe let's say someone might be needed to do this much part, this part. So if when I'm talking about my example, there was a one very detailed project where I was responsible for this part also, that everything was there on the clouds and servers. I was also responsible for loading that data into analytics engines and then thereon carry forward rest of the analytics. That is why it is important to understand different aspects of this domain. That's why it is important that you may get an opportunity where you might be playing more than one role. Of course, everyone understands you can't be master in everything, but you can get the job done.
Hi, Sumit.
Yes.
Yeah. We are very much clear about the different job roles and what are the skills required for the same. But I do want to understand that, like, is it right to make a inference like key out of the total available pool, talent pool in the market? Most of the peoples are competing for a data analyst role. Is it right to make such kind of inference?
Yes, you can make that inference. I would say, if I talk about the aspirations, most of the people are competing with this for this role. Many of the time, the job designations are also this, but practically, most of the people are filling or going for this combination. That you might be doing a lot of work on the data analytics side with some work on data scientist side. As you grow in career, you start doing more and more on the data science side, right? That is the practically thing. Your inference is pretty much right in place. The other side, which I will repeat again, the hard truth. A lot of companies are desperately looking for these people ready to pay, but just because data scientist thing sounds glamorous, people don't opt for that this career. However, for many people, starting your career from data engineering side and then going to data science side is very good. So you might consider that you can start or focus your career at this juncture like this, and then gradually in 2-3 years go more on the pure data science side. And I have seen many people doing this, successfully doing this, and it's totally worth it.
But there is one more hard truth about this. Like, my wife is already a data scientist, and she is also working as a data engineer in some company. So what I have seen is like that I am a non-tech person. Non-tech means I am a from manufacturing background. So from the current slide, the first half, that is the data architect and data engineer, I guess will not work for me, because I am from a manufacturing field.
Right.
So
It won't make
my target area should be the data analyst or data scientist, and most of the people are competing for that. This is also one of the hard truth, I guess.
Correct. No, absolutely right. For you, it does not make sense to focus on data engineering side. As I mentioned, someone who is coming from IT side already.
Yes.
For them, I would really urge them to consider starting from the data engineering.
Data engineer, yes.
Okay.
I got the point. Thank you.
Right. I would want to add one more point here. Also, this is topic for later. The most popular courses which we have, or the most comprehensive course, let's say the integrated course, that focuses on this, right? The second most popular course which we have, Data Science 360, that focuses on some data engineering, MLOps to be precise, and data analyst and data scientist. So we also understand how the job industry works, and we also want to focus your efforts, time, investment, everything, areas where the maximum jobs lie. So few years back, even if I talk about 2000 up to 2020, the courses were mostly focused on this, and there were separate courses for data engineering. But as the industry evolved, we have to be very much aligned with the hiring requirements, what interviewers or recruiters are asking, what companies are asking for. So in fact, the certification changes we have recently made and all that, we have to a great extent started focusing on this side in the same course. So I'll talk more about it, but first let's make sure that everyone understands it, and I hope I do not end up confusing you guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Sumit.
Yeah, hi.
I just want to ask you one thing in addition to just concerned question that as I belong to manufacturing industry, yeah, we just clarify that data analyst or data scientist will be the best options.
Right.
How these technologies are used in manufacturing industry? Like how will it be beneficial for us to transform from manufacturing industry to becoming a data analyst or data scientist and working in IT companies or something like that?
Yeah.
Using our work experience background or something like that.
In last 2-3 years, a lot of demand we have seen. In fact, in 2021, a lot of trainings which I did, corporate trainings, were actually for the manufacturing clients. I can very specifically share the areas where they were focusing on. But if I talk about broadly talking about manufacturing, so quality control, business planning and forecasting, that is one area where most of the work will be done at the data analyst, data scientist level. Then there is one extreme side of it, very advanced side of it, where they are also looking to use AI for quality control and automation. For example, let's say if we talk about steel manufacturing, and there is a plant which is rolling steel mills. Some of you guys might be able to relate to it.
I got it.
Using image processing to identify the flaws before the whole sheet is rolled out and wasted. At the very early stage, using AI-based models which can use image processing to do it. But of course, for someone to directly reach there is very difficult. I can connect with you offline or even mail the exact areas where that engagement is still going on. But as a starting point, you should be focusing more on the quality control and business planning and forecasting, supply chain management. If you're from the manufacturing side, that would be a very strong starting area.
Okay. In addition to this, I have one more question. That is like, for example, we are working in a production team or production plant, yeah, and we are noting down the machine timings and everything, and then we are doing the costing of the project. So that comes in the forecasting, business forecasting. That how much?
It would need both the things. It would need some data analytics because statistical correlations and all that will also come into picture there. Even the predictive maintenance, because the same client I was talking about, one area for them is predictive maintenance, that based on the operating conditions of the machines, time and output parameters, preemptively predict the maintenance downtime. So rather than waiting for it to either break down or doing it too early preemptively, use analytics, do it at just right amount of time that you are not having too much of downtime either because of breakage or unnecessarily maintenance, right? So on that side, forecasting and this side, the statistical analysis, a lot of that comes into picture. So predictive modeling is becoming very important part when you talk about predictive maintenance.
Okay. Okay, so which course you will suggest for this? Like
allow me a time for this kind of profile or this kind of need. You can consider Data Science 360. That will be apt course. Some of the components you may not need, let's say in first 6 months or so. Otherwise, if you go with Business Analytics 360, it will focus on this side mostly, and you will miss on these two things.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be talking more about it. One of the purpose was talking about these different job roles is you can understand and decide for yourself what job role works best for you.
Okay. My concern. Sorry.
I just want to add, like, it would be really helpful for all of us if you can share some insights on the industry wise, like those from IT industry, these courses could be really helpful. Those from manufacturing industry, these courses could be helpful, so that everyone would be able to understand better.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll definitely
And
do that.
as well the candidates who are fresher as well.
Yeah, I will be
And
doing that. I will be doing
in
that.
terms of work X also, this work X would help for this much of course. Huh? So this will
Sure.
be really helpful, and some of the questions will be answered automatically.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but before going ahead with that, I just want you to explain little bit about career progression in the same. Like that depends from industry to industry. That is a later on thing. Like if we talk about if we enter as a fresher, so what is the career progression and how much time does it take to be on that level? And just as per the earnings and all.
Sure.
I guess industry is almost having the same criteria for anyone, right?
Yes, there are few variations. So let me give you one different view on this, where I will be answering all your questions. Okay, because your question and the question which just we got, the request we got before this, they are actually very important, right? So I intend to cover that. I had already anticipated that. So here is what I'm going to use to answer those questions. If I talk about the overall analytics and data science space, it's a multidisciplinary skill, right? For a fresher who is coming from, let's say, technology background, let's say for a fresher who is coming from engineering background, IT, computer science, etc., circuit branches, this could be your focus area. You learn other things also. You learn analytics skills also. So let's start with a fresher. So being a fresher, you will be learning technology and analytics skills. As part of the course, you also learn a few important things related to the business, but this is your low priority area right now as a fresher. So if you are from technical background, this becomes your main area of focus, right? If you are from non-technical background, this becomes your main area of focus. But essentially what is happening is, with both these skills, you are entering the role of data analyst and data scientist. So being a fresher, you would be most likely entering the role of data analyst with more overlap either with data engineering, okay, or more overlap with data science. So again, going to that side, for a fresher, this is going to be the starting point for most. For some people, the focus may go on this side. For some people, focus go on this side. If you are from technical background, I would request you guys to consider starting from this point. It will be very easy to get a job. It will be also well-paid job. Don't just go after the tag of data scientist. So for freshers, this becomes the important starting point, data analyst, and you pick up your specializations as you learn and grow. Right, so we are talking about fresher. We are also talking about technical and non-technical. First, let me understand any questions on this aspect, being a fresher. When I say fresher, I'm talking about 0 to 2, 0 to 3 years of experience. So it doesn't mean absolutely 0 years of experience, but 0 to 2, 0 to 3 years of experience will be mostly considered as fresher.
Yeah, Sumit. So I just have a small question. So there's this business 360, business analytics 360 as well, right? So just wanted to ask, like, what all areas would be covered in that, and how that, like, in which aspects that one is better, or in which aspects the other one is better?
See, business analytics 360 mostly focuses on analytic skills, right? Excluding ML. Okay.
Okay.
And to someone who go with the consulting firm, then we would be needing which one most?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
to go on with the
Consulting one, yes. That's
Yes.
what I am now coming to next. So guys, when you talk about consulting side of it, please understand the domain, the business skills is important. So if you are coming from, let's say, 5-10 years of experience, right? And now you are a non-technical background. So we get a lot of candidates who are from, let's say, retail banking background, sales background, right? They have understood these things probably sometime as part of their MBAs, economics, graduation, etc. But they are not primarily from technical background. They come from non-technical background, but they still see a lot of value in analytics. So for them, what happens is this is the sphere which makes sense. Now, in this case, what happens is ML also for them goes slightly little low priority, but yes, being a analytics or business consultant, you need to have some understanding of it, that what is it, how does it work, in what situation, what should we use. They might not be doing a lot of things hands-on. But the important thing is you understand analytics, you can do a fair amount of it yourself using the regular tools. At the same time, you understand that domain very well. Someone might understand banking domain very well, and you would be now learning analytics, but sticking to the banking domain only, right? You will be deriving a lot of value in sticking to your domain rather than changing without it. Does it make sense?
So we can do one thing now to having this specific kind of a skill set, and somebody wants to go for higher MNC, if we consider like Bain or something like that. So we can do is formally we can take a business education, maybe in terms of degree or something like that, and adding on to those skills that could make sense, like to grow more in the career on a managerial level, right?
So a lot of candidates we get who are already, let's say, doing executive MBAs or MBAs to develop more business skills, business leadership skills, and then also going for one of these courses exactly with the same mindset, that they join knowledge-based companies, because these consulting or knowledge-based companies have different domains and practices.
Yeah, in addition to this, the sphere what you have mentioned right now for a people having a experience of 5 to 15 years of bracket, let's say, and the people who is from a non-tech background. So what are the chances that they will be able to, get a job at the package what they are getting, or they have to take a hit on their salary, or they might get a higher package? That what is there any stats available with you over there?
Good question. So I'll tell you what. Sometimes we get candidates with this background who are, let's say, with experience. They want to basically switch field into analytics, and they also want to at the same time do pure play analytics role. So they don't want to stick to managerial or leadership roles, but they want to stick to more let's say individual contributing hands-on analytics roles.
Yes.
So in those cases, yes, sometimes they have to take a hit, or they may have to make a job switch without pay hikes. However, the other side of it, some people say that we want analytics to be an additional skill. We will continue in the same domain we will be focusing more on the managerial roles rather than hands-on IC roles. In those cases, we have generally seen with additional analytics skills and all that, they also get a pay hike, right? So it depends, and both things are fine. It depends on your interest. So there are people who say, I want to switch completely. I want to get onto more on hands-on analytics roles. Even if I'm going at parallel package or taking some hit, I'm fine for temporary basis.
Yeah, but what is the market scenario? Matlab ki in terms of this is somewhat.
It will be easier to stick to the managerial role, right? With analytics being your additional skill, if we go with
In the-
market scenario, switching to
current
a hands-on analytics skill will be more challenging.
In the existing company to stick with a manager role or to change the company with change. So what is the market
For
scenario?
everyone, it's not possible to have that opportunity in your existing company and role.
Yes. That's what I want to understand, because for, let's say for an example, I am handling a team of, let's say, 4 to 5 people, and I have a salary bracket of around, let's say, 15 to 20 lakhs now. And if I am going to, switch, I'm more interested towards these kind of analytics now. So I want to, I can play an individual contributor role. There is no such issue with me, but I am just afraid because at this point of time, we all will be having a lot of, responsibilities in our life. So taking a hit, is okay. Like might be we will be taking a hit of 1, 2, 3 lakhs. It is okay for us to start a career. But what is the median salary one can expect? Not an average salary. What could be the median salary? What can expect?
In this case, your next salary will be dependent upon your present salary. So for lateral hires with 10 years of experience or more, even for 5 or more, your previous salary will always have a role to play. So I am saying we rarely see people taking a cut. Worst case scenario, most of the time is parallel compensation, or generally how the job market is going, especially for about last 1 year, right? Trust me, there are good hikes coming in. So job market is also going through a lot of turmoil. We have another company which works on analytics services, right? We know for hiring how we are doing. We are hiring a lot of people who are not from hardcore analytics background, but because of their managerial and the domain skills, we are hiring them and giving good hikes. So I don't think so you have to worry about a scenario of salary cut. Worst case scenario would be parallel compensation. But in current job market, I don't know about 3 years down the line, but how it looks for next 2 years at least. There are good, if you are having that additional skill, there are good packages coming in.
Okay. So I have certain other fears I don't want to discuss over this webinar. So is it possible to connect you with offline?
You can, as I said, I will be happy to connect with you guys to answer your questions on the personal profile levels. Best way would be you would be already in touch with someone from my team. Through them only, they will help you to connect and schedule call with you.
Actually, I have already spoke to your team now, but somehow
No, they will help you to connect with me. You can specifically tell them.
Okay, that's fine. I got you.
Even after this webinar, I will be telling them that for the participants here, they will be scheduling it will not be possible for me to have all the calls over today or tomorrow. So the coming week, they will be scheduling the calls with you guys for me.
I do understand. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay. The next set, guys, would be people who are coming from experienced background and from the IT background. So in that case, the obvious choice is if you have very strong experience, technical, with let's say 15 years of experience and all that, you can target this kind of role. However, this is the area which you can focus on if you're from technical background, which is basically data engineering, but setting up the analytics practices and the capabilities for the organizations, which is a very, very important role.
Hi, Sumit.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I have this question right now. I am not into a corporate sector or something like that. I'm a student and looking forward for my MBA or a CFA in the finance sector. So basically, what my question is that how like the data scientist or being a data analyst would give me the edge in this course while I'm doing finance. So how these courses can give me the edge or what opportunities they open for me while doing finance with these courses.
Right. See, if you are pursuing finance purely, let's say you want to go as a financial analyst or CFA kind of role, then you can just stick to the courses like business analytics, statistical analysis. There is a lot of overlap which you will find. The kind of work of financial analyst and reporting roles will have, CFA roles will have. However, let's say if you want to go in the banking and finance domain, but keen about roles which are primarily and data science driven. They are very actually lucrative roles. So data scientist role in a banking, investment companies, overall banking, finance, insurance companies is highly sought after, very lucrative. So in case you are targeting one of those kind of careers where your domain is banking, finance, but you are open to pursue career in data science, that is a very lucrative career role. In that case, you should consider either integrated or data science program. So what will happen is you will be mostly playing this kind of role in that case, where your domain would be banking, but you are primarily, let's say, playing data scientist, ML, statistical modeling role. However, that purely depends if that is of interest to you or not. If that is not of interest to you, then sticking to financial analyst, CFA kind of role, you may focus on this kind of skill.
Okay, got the idea. Yeah, thank you so much.
So read more about it, because I can't answer it for you. You have to answer it based on your interest or what you find more lucrative. But the pure data science role in BFSI is very, very lucrative.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Hi, Sumit.
Hi.
I'm into accounting and finance sector from the last 3 years. Like I've got 2.5 years of experience in finance sector. Now further, I'll be doing my master's in finance by next year from recognized universities and abroad. And I've also got data science and data analytics, some part of data analytics like Python are in my curriculum for my master's. So according to you, which course should I pursue, like business analytics course or data science 360 course?
So at least opt for data science 360 course. Business analytics course beyond a point will be basic for you. With masters, with overseas universities, the kind of job opportunity you're likely to come across, they will be highly valuing this skill, which will come as part of your data science 360 course. So I would highly suggest that for masters with STEM background, masters in finance background, the difference between business analytics and data science 360 is not a lot. It is primarily on the ML in machine learning and machine learning ops, which can make a lot of difference when you actually go through the job opportunities, both in terms of package and how desired you are as a candidate for the recruiter.
Okay. And later, I like my domain to be a finance analyst.
Yeah.
I don't want to go deep into data analytics like 10 years or 15 years later.
Yeah.
So data science would be better for me.
You will be progressing towards this kind of role in that case. More of leadership, business consultant, that kind of role. And see, one thing I mentioned in the very beginning, no matter who you are, the data science education is like the IT education, what it was 15, 20 years back. So whatever role you are playing, trust me, even the people in government, PSUs, etc., right now in policy making, they are also learning data science skills. So think of it from that point of view.
Okay, and one more question. How's data science is helpful in like global financial markets, like stock markets?
See, starting from something very glamorous, algorithm trading and stock predictions, that is complete machine learning. Okay. Then the dynamic risk assessment and management, credit risk assessments, the whole risk analytics is completely dependent upon data science and ML. So if you are not looking at, let's say, an auditor or financial reporting roles, for rest of everything, data science and ML is very important. In fact, for people who are coming from finance or keep interest in stock markets, etc., you might want to read a book on Jim Simons called The Man Who Solved the Markets. And in fact, I have a very detailed blog You can just search on our thing also on using machine learning for stock market predictions. So stock market predictions, insurance, actuaries, whole risk management and risk control, credit risk, etc. Everything is dependent upon your machine learning and statistical modeling.
Okay, yeah, got it. So according to you, which course should I opt for, like business analytics or data science 360?
At least data science 360, at least. See,
Yeah.
you will be making in both the courses some decent amount of investment. I'm saying the investment in terms of time and money secondary, time is more important, is not much, but that difference will make you much more desired in the job market.
Yeah, I completely got it now. Yeah, thank you.
Most welcome. Guys, allow me now to move ahead. I will have more questions on the same lines because that is what we are focusing. So we have talked about fresher, technical, non-technical.
Yes, please go ahead.
We have talked about experienced business side and the technical side, all the aspects. I hope you get fair amount of idea. Still, there could be very specific individual questions, which I'm happy to connect with you offline. And I said, reach out to the concerned person you are in touch with. They will help you to schedule a call with me. And we will be definitely speaking in the coming week. So the other side of it I want to talk about is the MLOps, right? So we all talked about machine learning models, data science models, and all that. Now, what is the difference for a company to become a bank like, let's say, Standard Chartered or HSBC versus, I don't want to demean anyone, but my point here is, let's say a bank which is not very much advanced in technology, or versus a company which is just selling products online versus Amazon. The biggest difference is all these big companies, tech forward companies, tech dependent companies are able to operationalize their data science, are able to operationalize their machine learning at a scale. So it is easy to build a model, right? But now how do you derive maximum value from that model? Can you use the machine learning model the way Netflix does, the way Uber does, the way Google does? That is where MLOps comes into picture. And it's not a very, let's say, highly advanced technical role, at least to an initial extent. So what is happening, even till last year, 2020, I would say mainly, we started making these changes 2021 onward. You will be focusing on, let's say, this side of it. You build the model, you train the model, and that model is available. But when companies used to come to us for hiring, they always wanted a candidate, or a candidate which can also do this side of it, or at least understand this side of it, was much preferred, highly desired. So that is where your MLOps comes into picture. So even when I will be explaining you the course content, you will be clearly able to see a module on MLOps. So the whole idea is, you have learned how to handle the data, you have learned how to analyze the data, you have learned how to use statistical analysis and model, you have learned how to build machine learning models. Fair enough. Now it will be the MLOps which will make you from an amateur learner who knows how to build the models to versus how to use that models for actual business gains. That is where your MLOps comes into picture. So the whole point is it needs little bit additional knowledge to understand the cloud infrastructure. You do not need to be a developer. You just need to be someone who can use it and put those models on cloud for deployment. So that is what will make the difference whether you get hired or not hired. So another view of the same thing, if I talk about the ML ops components, most of the data science courses will be focusing on this part, this part, right? And this part. Maybe this part also. Forget about these tools and all that. That's not important right now. So data analysis, exploration and data analysis, exploratory data analysis, data preparation, model building and training and tuning the model, reviewing that model, inferencing that model. This is where your MLOps comes into picture. These are the two additional things that makes the difference. If you have these skills, your salary packages from a, let's say, junior data scientist from, let's say, I'm just quoting a number right now, 10 lakhs, and having these skills can make a difference of 5 lakhs. It could be 15 lakhs, or sometimes just whether you are getting hired or not, right? So hope you get my point. Most of the courses do focus on machine learning modeling. Yes, it is easy to build the models, but businesses do not gain anything until those models cannot be deployed and used in real life. So MLOps is that skill that helps you to make those models work in real life, right? So I want to spend more time on your question answers, although I plan to go more in depth of MLOps, but I see the questions and what you are finding helpful are on different side, hence not going it. But my only point right now is that you understand what is MLOps and why it is so important. At least that much you guys understand. That skill which will allow you to put machine learning model into actual production and operation, where businesses can derive real life value out of it, is the MLOps. Do we understand that part?
Yes, we understand it, Sumit. In addition to this, I want to ask one more thing. Like the courses what analytics lab is offering, it will be, to be a successful one, we do need a hands-on experience plus plus a theoretical base also. So how, so the hands-on experience, how it will be done? You will be sharing some cloud sessions or cloud labs for us that we could have some hands-on experience, how it will be taken care of?
Yes, very good question. So let me answer that question with the help of curriculum now. Okay. Shall we move to the curriculum side, or any questions guys you have on the MLOps side?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Right. See, the most extensive curriculum which we have, which is, let's say, equivalent to your 2 years of full-time MBA or something like executive program in analytics, is integrated program. So first, let's talk about what all we cover and what makes it so highly value driven. You start with the building blocks, right? Which means basics of analytics and data science, some fundamentals, which is essentially very useful for non-programmers. Even for programmers, it could be of very good help, especially if you have not gone through these kind of things for a long time, or you are not in touch to any of the things which you studied as part of the college. Then you move to the tools which are most popular for data visualization and analytics: Excel, Tableau, SQL. This is optional module, VBA. So we provide you e-learning for it, but it's not mandatory. So at this stage, or as part of this module, you are essentially learning both skills: basic data analytics, moving to data mining, data extraction, data manipulation, and data visualization. We are focusing on Tableau because if we see the number of jobs, they are still, in India at least, they are highest on Tableau. But some people want to also learn Power BI. So there is a e-learning self-paced module available for it. at a very, very low pricing of just 4,000 rupees. So I would suggest you can stick to Tableau if until unless there is no specific requirement from your organization or a particular job you are going to target for Power BI. Sticking to one of these tools is good enough. We use Tableau because it is the most, if you talk about the number of jobs, that's maximum. The next thing is data science and machine learning using Python. So first you will learn data science with Python. So the Python programming, handling data with Python, basic data analytics with Python, data mining with Python, you learn all that. Only after that, you are moving to machine learning, text mining, and NLP, and introduction to AI and cloud computing. Right? The next set in this course is now focusing on the complete data engineering side. So big data engineering side. So that's why people who are coming from technical background, this is an excellent choice. You are learning extensively data science. In fact, AI and deep learning also, along with the data engineering skills. So if you have bandwidth for this, the amount of learning involved here, the type of jobs you can target here, the kind of support and in depth you go is like unparalleled at the cost it comes at. And then the next part is your machine learning ops. Right? So all in all, every aspect of data science, from basic statistical analysis to data mining to visualization to machine learning, NLP, data engineering, AI and deep learning is covered. As part of many other courses also, we also have industry and functional sessions. So for example, you are coming from banking background, but you do not understand that how is it used in banking, what is the best way to leverage analytics in banking, or how different banks or financial institutions are doing it. Or you are from manufacturing, you do not understand, you have learned these things but you are not fully clear what are the other possibilities. Or best thing is you are a fresher, understanding techniques and tools is one part of it, but having a mindset to use it, how to use it, what are the different problem areas which companies solve, right? So these industry functions becomes very important there. Now we have given an optional module R for data science, which was not optional even just a month back, but we understand that as the industry requirement changes, what to focus on, what to not focus on. So this module has become optional, and at just 4,000 rupees, this module is available. The purpose is, sometimes what happens, candidates have focused on Python, but when they are going through job interviews, there can come an opportunity where they say, okay, but we work on R, we don't work on Python. So this is a scenario which sometimes comes up, and once you have learned Python this well, this becomes a cakewalk. Learning R becomes very, very easier. So along with e-learning module, you also have doubt support, etc. in this module, so that let's say if Python is used in 80-85% of the jobs, and just in case you need it for the remaining 15% of the jobs, this option is available and you can very well focus on it. So most of the candidates like to avail it. However, they do it once the other part is done, so that from job opportunities, they are very well covered. So any questions on the integrated program for data science?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Varun here. Can you explain second block? There is a VBA and also pre-learning hours.
Yes. So VBA is an optional module which is typically used in Excel for automation tasks. So let's say there are certain tasks you are doing in Excel and you want to automate it. VBA is used for it. At one point of time, there used to be a good demand for it. Now there is demand, but limited demand. So this is optional. Like it will be given to you as an e-learning module, but at the same time, you also have doubt support. Let's say you have any questions or doubts on it, you can avail it, but it will be video based and optional. And what do we mean by optional? To get your certificate, it's not mandatory for you to complete these assignments and projects. It will be purely based on the need. If any of the employers or you are going through job interviews, they are asking for it. Pre-learnings are, if you see in some of the modules, we have pre-learning hours. The purpose of this is, even before you go through the actual training, there is some self-study for the basic foundation. So that when you go to the actual class, that becomes very easy for you to understand those concepts if you have gone through the pre-learning. So if I would quote this, that consider this as average 10 hours of self-study. So that typically includes your pre-learning hours. The modules where we have pre-learning hours, the self-study time will be considered accordingly for that.
Okay, got it.
So how many certifications would be there?
See, with this one, you will be getting 2 certificates, one from Analytics Labs and one from NASSCOM. With NASSCOM, which is basically an initiative with NASSCOM and Ministry of Education, Ministry of IT and Electronics. This part of the course is aligned with their National Occupancy Certification Program. So this part and this part. So these, let me mark it in a different bold color. Give me 1 second. So this part of the program is aligned with NASSCOM's deep skills. Now, I would throw some more light on it. Give me 2 minutes, because it's easy to understand the next course if you understand it well. The next course which we have is Data Science 360. The main difference between integrated and Data Science 360 is your big data and AI. So this part is not available as part of your Data Science 360 course. So for people who are, let's say, from a background where they don't want to focus on data engineering to that extent, or artificial intelligence, they can go with Data Science 360 skills, Data Science 360 program. Everything else, if you see, remains same apart from your big data and AI deep learning. So this program is again fully aligned to NASSCOM NOS, National Occupancy Certification Program. So one thing which I wanted to talk about here is, if you go to the NASSCOM site and all that, you will see many programs, but a lot of those programs are e-learning, available even at cheaper cost, that will have very limited depth of the subject, and mostly they will be self-learning. At our programs, even for NASSCOM, our certification comes under the deep skills, which means the advanced job learning skills. So NASSCOM certification can come from the foundation courses also, which are very basic in nature. And of course, they will cost less. But NASSCOM certification also comes for the deep skills, which are advanced and aligned to the NOS's National Occupancy Certification. So this is one thing I would want you to be very, very clear about, that when Analytics Labs talks about the NASSCOM certification, our certification is not basic foundation. Our certification is deep skills, which is basically advanced National Occupancy certification aligned.
Sir, is NASSCOM certification will provided also for BS 360 program?
No.
Sorry, BA 360 program.
No, it is not provided as part of BA 360 program. That is what I'm next coming to. So the difference between BA 360 and this program is, in BA 360 program, we are focusing on this part, right? Some amount of predictive modeling, no machine learning, right? And industry sessions. So The biggest difference between data science 360 and business analytics 360 is machine learning, text mining and MLOps, text mining, MLOps and AI cloud computing. So there are very few profiles where I would recommend, or we basically suggest business analytics 360 because the incremental investment in business analytics 360 versus data science 360 is little. However, from employability point of view, you gain a lot in data science 360. And of course, it comes with the industry and government backed certification from NASSCOM. And in all the programs, data science 360, BA 360, this is optional at a nominal cost of 4,000 rupees e-learning module. Here we are covering machine learning with R. So here you will be covering, but not in depth in the live sessions.
So one more thing, Sumit, while going through your website of Analytics Lab, I mean to say, it is written somewhere like it is in dual collaboration with IBM. What do we mean by this?
See, some of courses on the pure AI engineering or full stack side and all that, they are available with IBM certification. In fact, till last month, even business analytics 360 and data science 360 was available with IBM certification. However, for the time being, we have stopped it because it is increasing the cost of the course, right? So when we remove this certification, we have introduced NASSCOM certification, right? And we are able to offer it at more competitive pricing.
But
now,
let's say in terms of the market, like IBM certification, it is my perspective to think like IBM is a renowned name in the industry. So IBM certification would be somewhere higher in comparison to NASSCOM. Is it like that? Can the industry?
No, I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question. Right. See, both have their own value. IBM certification. See, IBM is a commercial organization, right? Yeah. Technology organization, commercial organization. Right. So yes, that name is there. There is value with that also, right? NASSCOM in many ways has actually more deeper value. Why? NASSCOM is backed by government, and let's say NASSCOM is what is NASSCOM? It's basically kind of a federation of the best companies of India. So the certification which is coming from NASSCOM is actually very, very well validated. They are very serious about the skill gap. They are very serious about the employability after doing certain course. So not every institute can provide NASSCOM certificate. The course has to be completely in-depth, aligned to the industry requirements, and very much making a person employable. So the focus of NASSCOM certification is very highly on the employability, and only an institute where the quality of the content is in depth, proper evaluation is done before you can get that certificate. So at least from employability point of view, the learning will be much more rigorous and in line to the latest trends, right? At the same time, as I said, yes, there is a value in the IBM certificate also. So we have an option for that also. If you want to avail that certification, we can still help you with that, right? However, my thought process is having any one of this is very good. It does not make a lot of difference if you have both certificates, right? Or one of it. The idea is having an industry accredited or industry backed, government backed certificate. But in case any one of you wants to go with IBM also, that certification also, you can let us know, and that provision is there.
Okay. And one more thing I just want to add in this, that you have told in the beginning, like NASSCOM will is having different levels. One is the foundation level, another one is the deep skills level, and your course will come under the deep skills level. So are there only two levels with the NASCOM, or there are multiple levels like foundation, a deep, expert, like this? Or
No, these are the two skills as of now. I do not know if future something more gets involved. The fundamental demarcation is also such that let's also understand the purpose for it. They say some institutes might be offering courses, but we are okay to provide that certification. However, it is at basic level. It is, let's say, for someone let's say an IT professional wants to understand about blockchain technology. That's it. Wants to understand, does not really intend to be a blockchain professional. That is your foundation certification, right? But if you're looking at a certification which is meant for job accreditation, which is meant for employability, it has to go up to a depth. It has to offer that level of expertise that person can be accepted in industry as a proper data science professional. So that's a thing. And to get deep skills certification, analytics labs had to work for 8-9 months. Since 2021 May onward, we started working with NASCOM on this, getting the course designed, aligned. They have external consultants, EY and these kind of companies, which will do the proper course audit, right? So a lot of rigorous evaluations go into it before an institute can get a deep skill certification with it.
There's one thing I want to know, if you can help me with that, because everybody is more concerned about that commercial point of view, like tech giant having that certification, like it is helpful, but if we consider we are having skills on our resume instead of that certification, and we can present it more valuably, like in terms of a portfolio or something like that, then I guess that could make a sense instead of just for the certification, right?
Very true point. See, you have a certification on your CV, a good reputed certification on your CV. It helps to a very good extent. Okay. However, beyond that, if you are the skills which you have mentioned, you are not able to justify or perform in the interview, that certification is on no use. So for pretty long history, we never had any external certification. Given our long standing in industry, there were large set of companies which knew about analytics labs as a learning solution provider and certification institute. So our own certification, even without any external certifications, our students have done fairly well, very well, because let's say when a company has hired a candidate from a certain institute and repetitive, they have seen good students coming out of it who perform well in the interviews and all that. That is the value of the certificate. However, you have certificate on CV, but you are not able to fulfill the requirements of the interview or the skills that job needs. It is of no use. In fact, we are very stringent about issuing the certificate. We don't want to name any.
Yes, there is one more thing I want to add on, actually. Sorry to interrupt.
No, just
Is
give me
it-
one
is-
complete this
yeah.
point. We are very
Okay.
strict about the certification process. You only get the analytics lab certification after you have completed your assignment and projects. There is no pass or failure. If you have not done well in your assignment and projects, you will be given chance to improvise. You will be given support to improvise, right? But do not expect that without doing your assignment and projects, you will get certificate, or do not think of copying project from anyone. That will not help you or not help us. Yes.
Hello.
So is it possible for like to just have a clear mindset to just have an access to some of the like one of a trial class for all of us present here, so that we can easily just get into that live interactive session and get to know like how the things work and how you guys teach, because on a certain extent, when just I was into different online certifications as well, but the thing is wherever I go, like it goes good. I'm not just blaming anyone, but there are a point where just you get bored or something like that, where you are not just just focusing on the hands-on practice or something like
No,
that.
I
Instead, you are just,
understand.
just putting everything on PPT and just telling. So that sort of things that just help actually. So
Sure.
I'm more concerned about that.
Sure. So reach out to the counselor you are in touch with. Only problem we have here is, let's say if there is a batch starting next week, most of the time that batch will be closed 3-4 days in advance. So we are actually not left with the slots, open slots to even take more enrollments. Forget about the demo side of it. However, there are 2-3 things you can definitely do. Your point is also very important. For the same trainer, same course, you can get their 1 or 2 classes as a recording, right? You make decision based on that. Even after that, you face any problem, you have enrolled, you will still getting the full support to address your concern or anything you have problem with, right? So we want you to make informed decision. So there will be steps and the support provided to you to make that decision. Even after that, you face any problem, we are responsible for it. It's not that once you have enrolled, it's done.
Sumit, in addition to this question, I would like to add something. Like I have seen the cases in different institutes, the demo classes are okay, but there is no criteria. Criteria is a different thing, but nobody tells you that who is your instructor. Basically, before enrolling a course, the student must be aware that who is your instructor.
No. In our case, you will get it. That's what I said. You will get to know your instructor. For the same instructor, you can also get the demo classes of their previous batches.
Okay, because to share a live experience, somebody, some of my friend is enrolled with some institute, everything is going fine, but when they enrolled into the course, the instructor was so poor, like he's having a good experience of 15 years,
I will
but
add one thing to this.
teaching methodology like that, the person start losing interest what he's
See,
teaching.
we can't be a successful institute. We are into 11th year now, right? We can't be successful with these kind of things, and we are very transparent about it. Who's your instructor, right? You can get their demo classes from your counselors from their previous batches, so that you exactly know what you are getting into it, right? No doubts about it.
Yes.
So there is one question from Arya. So Arya, that is what I mentioned. NASSCOM has many different type of courses with different institutes. You will see very few institutes where a course has this kind of content and coverage in live format. Okay, and we can also share the certificate we have from NASSCOM. It clearly mentions the deep skill category, right? And forget about anything, you will be the best judge. Just compare the course content and the duration and the support provided, that answers for it. So one thing, guys, which we want to ensure, which is one thing which is different for us and what is our philosophy. So see, for us, when we design a course, it does not start with what are the buzzwords in the market, right? And what is selling. That is not our way of working. For us, it starts from the job. What are the jobs in the market, jobs in the industry, right? What are the employers looking for? We take that back and then design our courses. So it is not like machine learning popular hai, Python popular hai, let's make a course in Python and machine learning. No, we started doing Excel, Tableau, SQL like 6 years back in combination with Python, machine learning, etc. Because we saw that everyone is running after Python machine learning, but when it actually gets to the hiring side, companies are looking for those basic skills also to be in place. So we will be matching the job requirements in industry, map the curriculum, design the course accordingly, and ensure that the instructor has industry experience on the same things to deliver it. So ऐसा भी नहीं होगा कि instructor has just studied those things to deliver it that in the training. No, that's going to be one thing which is going to be always in the DNA and the fundamental way we design our courses. So having said that, many of these things you will be able to evaluate if you go through the curriculum in depth. Do not just go with the what is given at the high level. Number two, the duration of the curriculum. Even sometimes the institutes will say the duration is 6 months, but in 6 months, either they are doing a class for 2 hours once a week, right? Or 2 hours twice a week. We are doing, let's say, 3 hours twice a week. So there is a lot of difference. You have to get and understand the things in detail. So do that. And as I said, for the same trainer who is going to start your batch or take your batch, you can get the previous classes of the same trainer from the previous batches. So ये भी नहीं है कि आपको demo देने के लिए there is some recording which has been done. It will be pretty much from the previous batch itself.
अच्छा सुमित, इसमें एक और पॉइंट है छोटा सा कि द शेड्यूल जो आपका है ट्रेनर्स का, इट इज आई गेस इन द आफ्टरनून 3 hours classes ना?
No, it depends. I think the next batch which is starting is 10 to 1. It depends which batch you are opting for. There are batches which are 2 to 5 time slot. There are batches which are 10 to 1 time slot.
अच्छा, still ki there are cases for experienced professionals, they will be having their office on Saturdays also and up till 5 or 6 o'clock. So might be on Sunday they can attend the programs, but on Saturdays they will be having no choice other than
there is an
listen the
option for it.
recordings.
There are two options for it.
Yeah.
One option is you enroll for e-learning self-paced, and even with our e-learning self-paced courses, on Saturday and Sunday you have live doubt sessions. You can just log into those live doubt sessions. The second option is, let's say you want to enroll into live batch. You enroll Saturday class, you are getting free by, let's say, 5 or 6 p.m. By that time, the recording of the same class will be there. You will have to put effort to go through that class. And in the next class on Sunday, you can clarify your doubts before the next session or the next topic starts. So some people I know in past, they have this limitation, Saturday is working. They do this. That Saturday class, they will cover through recording, and then they will go through the Sunday class in live format. And trainer will give you that chance that, okay, before we start with the next topic or new topic, let's discuss your doubts from the previous topic.
बट उसमें ऐसा कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं है कि अगर टोटल 80 क्लासेस है तो अगर आपने 50% ही क्लासेस अटेंड करी तो सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं मिलेगा या आपकी अटेंडेंस कम है.
Certification is based on your assignments and projects.
It is not based on the attendance in the live classes.
No. See, many students are working. Many students are freshers. Even when you are fresher and it's a 6 months course, we understand there will be cases you may not be able to attend the live session. So the ability to have a recording on the same day automatically, keep your notes under each recording, bookmark your lessons, and everything is there in the LMS to make this possible.
Hi Sumit, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have one very quick question. Someone asked it earlier as well. So like what makes analytics lab different from other institute?
Yeah. So there is one other question from similar lines. Difference among, please be on mute if you do not have questions. Okay. So guys, there is a similar question from Akhtar. Difference among Udemy, YouTube, and my institute. And yes, a very important question. Why do we spend lots of money? Because I'm sure if you talk about Python with data science, which at analytics labs comes at, let's say, 35,000, there it comes at 700 or even 500. I'm very sure about it. See, one thing is, there are students who enroll into our programs after doing that. So I'm just ballparking it, that content coverage in depth will be hardly 20-30% of what we cover. Number one. For example, we can teach you logistic regression in 1 hour of YouTube video, but why analytics lab is spending 8 hours in doing it? If YouTube video can teach it, in fact, 20 minutes also, 15 minutes also, 1 hour also. Why analytics lab is spending 6 times, 8 times that? The difference is the depth of the content, depth of a topic. Is it enough to you be industry ready? Can it be practical? So that is very different when you are learning something from a free source versus when you're learning something with a lot of practical emphasis. And the topic name is same, logistic regression, right? It takes us 6 to 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours to do it. While if you look at a logistic regression topic in YouTube, you will find videos in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour. That's a difference. So the doubts, support, and mentoring when you're learning something of this kind of professional competency, this is also very important. Second is, the next is nature of the projects. So the nature of projects can be very academic in nature, that it helps you to clarify the concept, versus nature of the project could be industry level complexity. So if I am giving you industry level complexity of the project, I also need to give you that kind of support for you to crack that kind of project, right? And needless to say, it is easy to have something recorded and then do not provide any support around it, right? So starting from your curriculum, the depth of the curriculum, how we are entirely focused on the job side. No one subscribes to Udemy channel. I was just talking to someone about it and goes back to Udemy ki interview mein ye karke mere se crack nahi hua, right? That doesn't happen there. So there is certain value those free courses, or let's say few ₹100 courses have, no doubts about it. It is also valuable. You may go through those courses and then join our courses. That also happens very often. People do that.
Yes.
Right. However, there is a lot of difference in learning something theoretically and learning something practically with a lot of mentorship and support. And I am very sure there will be courses which are cheaper than also, and there will be courses which are expensive than also. We try to strike a balance that it is creating value for you also, much more value than what we are charging. And it is something that ensures that we are able to do what we are doing in with certain quality and ensuring good instructors and updated curriculum. You might sign up for a curriculum now, and let's say 3 months down the line, we feel that a new topic or new skill is needed for interviews. This is becoming a problem. Even without letting you know, we might be adding that to your curriculum. If I am saying that training is of, for example, 60 hours, most of the times it is taking us 70, 80, 90 hours. It is not happening that something we said it's 60 hours, then we will force complete it in 60 hours. We are not going like that. So if we are doing something which is more tailor-made, more bespoke, with more lot of personal attention, of course, there is a little cost attached to it. We all understand.
Also, I would want to add something, Sumit. Like, the one great thing which I have realized about your institute versus the others, I won't name any. So I come from a sales background. I have been into the ethic, right? And I know how how we actually run for the leads. And honestly, I've seen analytics labs not spamming anyone with the calls or messages to join the course or pushing them. That shows that shows the market value of that particular institute. Like how, like, you don't need to fetch the leads. You are already getting so many leads that people want to join analytics lab. So that is one thing which I have differentiated from the others. I believe. Like, this is my
Thank you so much for mentioning it. I must say there is a conscious effort that goes into it. to our teams, there is a very clear instructions that you are actually going to do the counseling, not sales, right? If you do the counseling right, whatever is the right program one needs will automatically, they will opt for it. So we put a very conscious effort to make that differentiation, and thank you for mentioning it. I'm very glad to hear that.
Hi, Sumit. Can you please tell me what is the duration of the data science 360 course? Because I might go to abroad this September.
So data science 360 course, if I talk about, let's say, all the modules and this going back to back, is about 6 to 7 months. However, we give you 1 year to complete it, because what happens is, after you have done, let's say, some part of the course, let's you have done till 3rd module, we give you a provision that you want to take a break, let's say for 1 month or so, to complete the projects related to this and then move to the advanced ones. So the duration is about 6 to 7 months. If you start now and you are continuously doing it, before September it will be over. But to provide flexibility that you do it well, you can take up to 1 year to complete it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Right. So guys, I'm sure there are more questions and I'm not able to answer all of them right now. So I would be very happy to connect with you guys again, especially to answer your individual questions. So my request would be, get in touch with your respective counselors, right, irrespective of the location. They will help you to schedule a discussion with me, and I will be connecting with you within this week itself. So I may not be able to connect with most of you guys just today itself, but let's say over today, tomorrow, next coming days, I'll be connecting with each one of you.
Just one last question before you leave or just end up the webinar. Yeah, it is all about the like job assistance or something, whatever you say. How do you guys help us with afterwards? Just we are finished up with the program. How's it going to help?
Sure. So I'm glad you asked it. I should have answered this question actually. 1 minute. I will be categorically talking about it. See, for your job assistance, this certification is very important. So any kind of job assistance from our side is only meaningful once you have completed your course with certification, which means finished assignments and projects with fair evaluation. So there could be evaluations of 3 types. Good, someone who has done very good in the program, right? Someone who has done fair, and improvement. So if it is improvement, then you will have to go through the some projects, let's say, may need improvement, not all. So you will have to resubmit it, and whatever support you need to improvise, new sessions, doubts, and all that, that will be provided, right? So we are very, very strict about assignment and projects, because that is going to reflect your own confidence and your skill into the interviewer. So once this thing is done, right, and sometimes we might also take a kind of a mock interview. At this stage, I will not call this as a mock interview, but more of a viva. Mock interview happens at later stage. So what happens is, then it starts your profile building, right? Interview preparation. So let's say you are a working professional with 5 years of experience. Your profile building exercise will be very different for someone who is 0 to 2 years of experience, or for that matter, someone who is coming from 15 years of banking experience. So how do we help you to make use of this new skill connected with your experience, education? That becomes very, very important, right? How do you explain that value to the interviewer? mock interviews. Not everyone needs it. Some people need it. So that will be done, right? And then referrals. So there are 3 ways to it. Through alumni. Every now and then we have our ex-students reaching out to us for their openings in their teams, their organization. Needless to they get referral bonus out of it. We reach out to the companies. So this is a regular exercise for us also, right? And every day, at least we are getting 2 companies reaching out to us, HR organizations directly reaching out to us for hiring. So honestly speaking, right now, there are few companies where we have mandate to, let's say, hire 1,000 data engineers, 150 business analysts, 20 data scientists, but we do not have those many candidates to us. And this process, when these HR companies and they are reaching out to us directly, something has drastically changed in our country or in edtech. So since 2020, this has gained a lot of momentum because, as I said, hiring a skilled and good candidate has become a big challenge. So earlier we were reaching out, we were putting a lot more effort in this side, right? Now gladly how edtech is evolving and organization industry is realizing that formal education has one role to play, but in knowledge-based economy, regular skilling, upskilling is very important. Companies are realizing it, governments are realizing it, hence there are initiatives like NASSCOM, future skill-based certification programs where this employability, knowledge-based things can be solved upon. So this is a continuous process. We have a separate team which works under me, or let's say there is another co-founder who sits out of Bangalore who looks after this team. So all these things goes into it and it's a continuous process. Yes, of course, if you have, let's say, not getting job in 6 months, right? It's not that after 6 months that support is over. We will be continuously helping you. But at the same time, you are getting interviews, you are getting calls, but you are not able to convert it. A lot of onus is on to you to reach out to us for the help, that where I am lacking, what can I do better, right? So it is a two-way process. A lot of proactiveness has to be from the candidate side, and the continuous process which we have, we follow that also regularly.
So I guess that could be done from your side as well. If we talk about, like, firstly, if somebody is considering a list of companies that I just want to be in there also. So based on those specific.
No, we do not entertain this kind of request. We suggest you when you're starting your career.
No, it is not like that. I'm saying is there must be a certain set of question and interviews, just have a specific set. So based on that, we should be preparing accordingly, right?
Correct. So that is part of interview preparation, interview guide, the popular questions, the blogs you should go through and all that. So that is there.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Varun here. I just have a last question. Like during training, we get 24 assignment and capstone projects, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanna please clarify that the projects which we get, so it would be related to industry or real life projects or dummy projects.
No, it will be dummy in a sense that they are not live, right? Because we can't share our clients, let's say, regular live business data with you, but they are industry projects in a sense that they are the actual problems which these companies went through. We have used the same set of problems, but sanitize and modify the data so that there is no confidentiality breach, right? But from your learning and skill point of view, you are facing this similar level of complexity and the rigor which you need to solve those projects in industry. In fact, with one of the very large companies, They wanted to do joint certification with us. Just last Tuesday, we declined the proposal because when we evaluated their projects, we found it to be too simple. So there has to be a balance, that it can't be too simple, but at the same time it can't be so high that a beginner or an intermediate candidate can't work on it. So that all those things are taken care of.
Sumit, one question remain unanswered. The question is about the hands-on experience, that will you giving some access to the cloud labs for a hands-on
Sorry,
experience?
I forgot this question. See, for your most of the content, if I talk about, let's pick up this course itself. For this course, all the tools and all the things which you need, right? They can be very well used on a normal laptop. They're open source or their learning versions are available. You get those things and you can very well practice those things on your laptop. Any normal laptop will work. But as we move to more advanced machine learning, NLP, or some techniques, yes, then the problem starts happening. So yes, for some of these modules, you will be getting access to the cloud environment, right? Some of this cloud is again freely available on Google Colabs, right? Or when we talk about how do we do ML deployment, there will be cloud on the commercial clouds, the accounts you will be setting up. So the answer is some part of it, you do not need that. Where you need it, we will be helping you with it.
Okay, and it will be restricted to some amount of hours.
Yes, yes. But there will be flexibility. You can do more, but there will be very, very nominal fee without we trying to make any money out of it. Our objective is not to make money out of it.
Okay, okay, I do understand.
So guys, please accept my apologies if they are still unanswered question. I will be happy to connect with you and answer it one-to-one discussion. I hope that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I hope these 3.5 hours was worth of your time. You were able to find some useful information.
No, Sumit, to add on, that was a real good webinar we had, because I had been into one or two additionally before that. So it was quite informative, and I guess we are not left up with any questions.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be anyway connecting if there are questions. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your remaining.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.